Welcome back to Twin Humanities for our 50th episode. I'm CJ.
And I'm Paddy.
Tonight we delve headlong into the hullabaloo of the Dark Souls 3 rumors before foraging further into Bloodborne, with the revelation that I'm really not enjoying the game.
Poppycock. We also continue our hop, skip, jump amidst Scholar of the First Sin and tickle in with a few cheeky community snippets too. Oh, and well, bloody 50 episodes.
Sound the battle cry, me lovely.
Welcome back to Twin Humanities, to our 50th episode.
Woo!
I'm Gary Butterfield.
I'm Cole Ross.
So yeah, we've got loads to talk about. So the first little bit which jumped in was yesterday or the day before. Don't really care.
Let's say yesterday. Why not? If this this isn't live. Who cares?
Yesterday. So there was a rumor that came out that Dark Souls 3 would be at E3 and would be helmed by Hidetaka Miyazaki.
Okay.
So when did you see it, or was it when I kind of went,
Oi! I think it turned up on the old Twitter box, and I disbelieved it immediately because you know what people are like on the old Twitter box. It was the Fallout day, wasn't it? Same day as that.
It was, and I whilst the Fallout stuff was, controlled, I did get the impression that whatever had tripped out, maybe, I don't know. There's lots of stuff that seems to be leaking out pre-E3.
And that annoys me because I'm excited, but could we not just shut up for 2 more weeks for E3? Could we not just have one amazingly brilliant, everything's amazing 2 weeks instead of knowing everything that's coming out? Leaks piss me off these days. Just shut up.
I mean, I don't know. There's the thing that because there's only a few bits that are either leaking out by word of mouth like this one, or a full trailer like Fallout 4, we're still waiting to see something tangible. We're still waiting to see how something plays. And even if Dark Souls 3 is a thing, if they show off a trailer that fucking smashes us around the head, or Miyazaki comes on during the Sony conference or something, it's not going to lessen the
That's true. When it becomes real, it's the but just the idea that it exists before seeing any. Do you remember when the Bloodborne thing, Project Beast, existed, and these 2 or 3 kind of very small images appeared, but it was that. See, that was a leak right there. Because that's this is a leak and it has some substance. It's just some idiot could have gone, Dark Souls 3 is going to be out, tell IGN. And that's all it needed. Someone playing a nasty joke.
I don't know. I don't know where the I probably should have looked, but I don't know where the source originated from.
I have no idea. I just said
IGN, was it something like VG247 or something like that?
I have no idea. There's too many websites now. Can we not just have one?
Okay, Grandad.
Yeah. In my day, we had a magazine. We got it once a month, and anything you found out was month-old news anyway, and we liked it.
In my day, we had chalk drawings and whatever dust was on the skirting boards, usually from chalk. Circle of life shining on everyone. So yeah, I stated on Twitter that I think it's probably Dark Souls HD. If anything if there's anything Dark Souls that Miyazaki's connected to, I'd imagine it's that. I don't know if we'll get the same game that we've had previously, just polished up into 1080 60 frames per second, or if maybe we'll have like a little bit of a remix like Scholar.
But does Dark Souls 1 need it? Because Dark Souls 1 does all that stuff.
Okay, well,
I think
1080p 60 frames per second
would
would get rid of a lot of the issues that people had in Blighttown, but I wouldn't be adverse to them having a bit of a tickle at Bed of Chaos.
I suppose there's a couple of bits that could be tweaked.
I don't know. It depends if you're saying everything in the original was perfect and we want that preserved for the next generation, or if you go, I quite like you to shake it up a little bit,
remaster or remix,
and they can't really do both, can they? What do you reckon? I
would, in an ideal world, if it did happen, I personally don't think it will, but in an ideal world, you're going to have the frame rate fixed.
I mean that's a given.
But then I don't know. Like I think it needs to. It's a very well put together product. Like it's a really well constructed product. Like especially it's the thing that item placement means something. And I think mixing that around would, I don't know, like it's got this lore that's together and it makes sense, and I don't think it needed the adjustment. I don't think it needs the adjustment that, say, Scholar did, because Scholar got a load of adjustments and has made the game, better, as way better. But I don't think Dark Souls 1 needs it.
Yeah, I mean,
sure, Better Chaos is fucking terrible, but I can live with that.
Nah, I think Better Chaos needs just a few little tweaks, but that's really, I think.
No, don't say it out loud, because he'll just throw a couple of Taurus demons in there as well to fuck with you.
No, I think
we fixed it.
No, I think that it obviously just needs a few tweaks with regards to the problems. But Miyazaki himself wasn't particularly happy with those things. Items don't need to move around, and I think that the aspects that Scholar has gotten right, with regards to making Drang Lake and its surrounding areas feel like a world now, rather than a series of levels.
Yeah,
I think that was already there in Dark Souls.
Yeah,
I think he'd already felt like a world. There was already connections between the different levels with the channelers and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I'd really like to see it preserved for this generation. Plus, there were a lot of people that are coming to the game's first time with Bloodborne, and whereas some folks have gone, I don't really know if you could go from Bloodborne to Dark Souls 2. You can super fucking go from Bloodborne to Dark Souls 2, because they're completely different games, and one's at a completely different pace to another. And I think if anything, it gives you a taste for the games in themselves, and the further you wander back, I still think even if people now are wandering on to like PS3 or 360 for the previous games, still think those games are just fucking superb as they are. So yeah, I would like to see it preserved, because I think that the game would reach a far greater audience just simply because Bloodborne's done so fucking well.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a question for you then. Assuming the thing that it gets announced is actually Dark Souls 3. Okay. Assuming it is that. I was speaking to someone on Twitter who I completely forget, so remind me please, about a next Souls game. And they were remarking that they were getting a bit exhausted with the whole medieval sword board, if you were, as a setting, because I think it's the presumed kind of setting, for a Souls game, is swordy boardy. I mean, ignoring Bloodborne from this theory. Where would you like it to see it go? Like, as far as like a location or a sort of a technological age, would you like to see it being the similar sort of swordy boardy magic, or would you rather see things advance quite a bit? You'd want to see guns put into it, perhaps, or what sort of different things would you want to see in a Souls 3?
I saw a few folks that were saying like they'd like to see if Dark Souls 3 was to become a reality, that was the last one.
I was one of those.
I was watching GameSpot tonight, and on the lobby bit, and Kevin Van Ord was saying he'd be wary of there being a Souls game every year, as in like there being a yearly game of that ilk from software, whether it be a Bloodborne or a Dark Souls or whatever. On the one hand, Miyazaki's in charge, and I don't think anything that's coming out of that company will be shat out, because the company's got more prestige than they've ever got. They're talking about Miyazaki as somewhat of an auteur. He's getting sort of Kojima type focus upon him now as well. So I don't think From are in a position that they will ever kind of put something out for the sake of putting something out. You've also got to consider that Kadokawa are now in charge of From Software, or now own them rather. Kadokawa are an incredibly rich company, so From on in a position where they have to put a product out because they're financially secure, and there's no need to worry about Kadokawa because the first thing they did was put Miyazaki in charge. So I think that whatever product they do, I don't think, if it is a yearly thing, if it goes like Souls, Bloodborne, or whatever the variations might be, maybe they introduce an Armored Core into the mix, and that sort of takes the third role. I don't know, but it was mentioned that Souls could essentially be a Final Fantasy. It could be a different world, a different time with a few connections every time. There is a common theme between the opening two of renewal, but you can do anything with that. Final Fantasy's always had its SIDS and like odd little sort of connections between the games and stuff, which have all tied in with been strings all brought in for Final Fantasy 14. So they're all in the mix with that. But if there's a good enough idea for it and a passionate team behind it and a strong enough vision, I say let them run with it.
Okay. Here's a question then, regarding something you mentioned earlier. Obviously, you haven't, I don't think, and I definitely haven't beaten Scholar completely yet, and seen the endings. So if this is covered in one of those endings, ignore us. If a Dark Souls 3 came out, would you want to see it be the last one? Would you want it to close the loop?
Yeah, but there's no loop to close.
The loop of the flame going, sparking up, and the flame brings life and renews the world, and then it dies and goes down. You get the embers, and then comes back again. Like, I don't know. I want to see it kind of, the first flame kind of destroyed somehow, or I want to see the loop finished. I think I need like a final end would be nice to have.
Yeah, but the two games aren't connected anyway, bar the odd string and the odd sort of item, and that theme of renewal can go anywhere. And if you're saying that, well, in the next game I'd like to see the flame like destroyed and extinguished, well, what would take its place? Then you've got precedent for a new game, depending on how you spin that and what kind of story you take it in. Obviously, you can apply any kind of template over the top of Souls, and I wonder what a game set in the equivalent of like a World War I or something, with like muskets and vehicles, and have those little sort of shimmers that happen. You could do anything with Souls, and that's why I don't understand this. Let's make it the last one. Let's close off Souls, because you could do anything with that, and I think that people would be baying for it before they knew it. It depends on how often it comes out, what it's sort of bookended by, and I don't know. I get the feeling that there's been a bit of a lesson learned with Dark Souls 2. That they were going for old tech, their established audience, which was fair enough. With Dark Souls 2, I can only muse that they were going for a certain release date, and there was all the issues with the there were issues with the lighting engine, and I don't know. As much as it entertained me, the world, we've said it felt like a connected series of levels. But they improved the PvP and they did various other bits as well. But then the DLC came in, and that was ballpark. And then they've come back with Scholar, and it's a fucking masterpiece. So I think that steps will be taken to make sure that there's not as big a learning process on that. And that's in many ways why I'd kind of be curious to see what Tanamura would do with Dark Souls 3 if there was that learning process, and maybe see what Miyazaki comes up with next time on his own. Or perhaps another way of thinking is that what if Tanamura went off and did his Bloodborne? They went to Tanamura and go like, what kind of game do you want to create? And see what he did. And much as Miyazaki was a really talented youngster when he was brought in on Demon Souls, and he turned Demon Souls into something original and brilliant and special, I'd be curious to see if there was that kind of young blood from that Miyazaki could maybe see that same spark in them that he had originally. The spark to create and do something different and unusual and really shake things up. And as to whether Miyazaki might go, right, what would you do? And I think that'd be quite exciting and quite dangerous if it was like, yeah, Miyazaki's handpicked a young development team to kind of run with this. And, we'd mentor them, he'd do whatever he had to do. Tanamura would obviously mentor them and stuff, but just to see how they kind of put their own stamp on it. Miyazaki's perfect example of someone coming into a company and turning them around a little bit creatively. So that would excite me. But in From I trust, like massively. Kadakawa's finances behind them. They've got the finances to be able to expand that team if they need to. Miyazaki's said in interviews that he's limiting sort of the time that he has to be president, and to the things he has to do, and can delegate the other stuff to other people, and then he can be involved with designing and be hands-on with game development, which is his passion. There's nothing wrong From, and I don't know. I'm really excited to see what happens. Plus, on the Sony front, I'm wondering if Sony have kind of approached From with regards to Demon Souls HD, because I'd be smitten with that. I'd be smitten if if that Bloodborne DLC is, they said the end of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, later in the year.
Yeah,
is what they've said.
I mean, if that's say September time, probably November time, won't it? But if it's kind of late autumn, I wouldn't be averse to seeing like a Demon Souls HD in perhaps a fallow period like a January or something, or an Easter next year. I think that'd be awesome. Plus, I think it was Nintendo who was saying that they turned around the new version of Wind Waker in 6 months. Capcom have identified that HD remasters are a good source of profit because the audience is already there and wanting them. There's a want for them on new machines, and that they're not tremendously resource heavy to do. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, would you rather say to somebody that who's going back through the games, going like, well, you have to dig out your PS3 or your Xbox 360 to play?
Yeah. Because let's be fair. Let's be fair. Demon Souls is the one that most people haven't played, isn't it? Of the ones that are out, it's the ones that still people say, I don't have a PS3, never had one, so I've never played it. It's the one that's sort of least known of the lot, and it's probably the one that would benefit from the best from the best boost of sales from getting a HD version up, because all these people that have bought their PS4s for Bloodborne, could jump straight in with it, and they'd sell probably as many copies of it as they have sold of Bloodborne, I would have thought.
if they pitch the price well, I think it'd be a no-brainer for a lot of people. Plus, it'd be a nice little sort of swing around, if you will, because Sony notoriously undervalued that game from the start, with not wanting to release it out of Japan, then Atlas releasing it in the States, and Sony still not wanting to release it anywhere else, and then Bamco getting it and releasing it like 6 months later in the West and stuff, and even Yosh sort of saying that the original version that he saw he didn't think was very good, and now it's one of his favourite games ever. I think it's a nice swing around in that regard if there is this brilliant version of Demon's Souls that people can look upon and go, fuck, the atmosphere is incredible. Like, see all those things that those that discovered it were all like, oh my god, and people can see that when the stunning design and atmosphere just polished to a crisp. And also, I think it was Atlas in the States when I first had my version, did a lot of things based around World Tendency. So I don't think Namco Bandai did. But Atlas were like, right, it's Valentine's Day coming up. Do you want pure white or pure black? Vote now. It's Christmas. It's we've got Halloween and Christmas coming up. Halloween's going to be pure black tendency. Christmas is going to be pure white tendency. And they were great because you could kind of look forward to them, or if there were bits you were stuck on, you could go, oh, it's going to be pure white. Then I'll go for that. Or if Sony built a number of days around the tendency and really kind of focused on it and made it fun and special and probably explained that a little bit
at all
better. Yeah, at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't freaking get World Tendency. Okay, there we go. There's your remaster. Just do something different with World Tendency. There's your remaster thing for Demon's Souls. You don't
need to do something different with it. You just need to be a little more eloquent with the concept, because with explaining the concept. Because World Tendency is fucking brilliant. But Dark Souls is a masterpiece. Sorry, Demon's Souls is a masterpiece, and I'd like to see that get that treatment. And I've looked longingly at that patched version of the PC Dark Souls for quite some time. It'd be interesting to see if From could give us a bit more natively this time than the PC did. Yeah. Plus, it's been said that at E3 there's a PC show this time.
There is.
As to whether kind of something like the Dark Souls one might even be like Dark Souls 3 or Dark Souls, like proper Dark Souls HD, might be shown off at that. So although instinct probably tells me it might might shine a little more in a console show.
I can see it, yeah. If it's going to be anywhere, it'll be either on Microsoft's or Sony's. One of the two. It's one or the other. Probably Microsoft's thinking about it.
Emergency segment. I got that off YouTube. I don't know if you've heard of it. No, it won't show up. So we finished recording the podcast where we dismissed the absolute notion of Dark Souls 3 being a thing at all ever. Well, maybe not for a while, and thinking that it was going to be Dark Souls HD, or we had musings here, there and everywhere, and we literally finished that podcast, and Dark Souls 3's pictures were on the internet, and we've been enjoined by our special roving reporter, Saying Ahmed.
Hello, how are you?
We are good and excited and embarrassed, but mostly excited.
Oh, don't be embarrassed. It's okay.
Of all the timings that could have possibly been, it's about as perfect as it could possibly be, and in the 50th episode as well. So that's lovely.
Commemoration, maybe. The gods smile upon you.
Was it timed? Who knows? Thanks From. But when I finished the podcast, I was like, right, I'm going to get some crisps, and what's this? It's a picture, and then there's 2 more pictures, and I haven't seen the video yet.
Oh man,
I'm going to.
I have watched the video.
The presenters are insufferable. I can give you that.
Yes, but there is some details.
Oh,
There are
yeah.
some details.
So where did this crop up? Because there've been rumours for the last number of days, and where did this break? I don't recognise the watermarks in the corner.
So it's from a YouTube channel called The Know, and I don't know if you know, like a couple of weeks ago, they actually did that crazy Silent Hills leak from a couple weeks back. Like they said, "Oh, Microsoft are buying it for like $2 billion."
No,
So-
that was them.
Ooh.
Yeah. But with all these rumors of Dark Souls 3 from VG247 this past week, and like them just releasing these, like I'm inclined to believe that these are real, especially because of the details they've been given. So
That's wow. So, does it? As a little aside, do you think that there might be a kernel in this Silent Hill stuff, or do you think that's just bullshit and they've looked out on these?
I definitely think that the Silent Hills thing was bullshit. I mean, $2 billion
Yeah.
for Silent Hill out of everything. But
You could buy Minecraft for that much money.
exactly, and who would buy Silent Hill for Minecraft money? No.
It's alright. Let's have a go up with this here video. 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
Yeah, just look at the pictures. You'll get the thing. I wrote down all the salient points. Don't worry. In a bizarre twist of fate, I have written the notes.
So how excited did you get, Sam, as you saw these things?
Well, I saw a thread go up on NeoGAF, and it was of the video. So I quickly clicked through the video, skipped to all the screenshots, and pulled them and immediately posted them to Twitter. So what do I make of them?
Yeah.
They look beautiful. I mean,
So-
there's this one shot. I think the first shot they showed was of this sort of melting sun,
Oh god, yeah.
and
It's like it's bleeding.
yeah, and I think
Oh God, yeah.
From does this beautiful thing with light and dark in their games, right? And where Bloodborne reflected the moon, this might reflect the sun again, and that it just like tingles me in just the right direction that I want to believe that they're somehow linked because of the moon and the sun. And but I don't know. It's really early days. I'm definitely getting ahead of myself.
Have you seen in that first picture? There's a bit just towards the top right hand corner that just looks like kind of a caterpillar, but it bunches up into sort of these
Yeah.
twigs and.
Oh god.
It's Shai Hulud.
Yeah, I thought it was a tree. It's not a tree, is it?
No.
Ugh.
That is definitely a bleeding sun.
Oh man. No, but there's the concept art as well, which looks like From Software trademark concept art from the Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and Dark Souls 2 days as well. So I'm really, yeah, I'm on board with it, I guess.
So I presume this is quite a way along then.
Yeah, they're charting this for 2016 apparently. I don't know. It seems too soon. I mean, for me,
Well, apparently it's for PS4, Xbox One, and the PC is currently a floating point.
I mean, they have to
So
release it for
if
PC.
it goes well, then it will. If it doesn't, then it won't. Maybe. No one seems to know, but apparently the PC is floating.
I don't know. I remember when the original Dark Souls had its whole PC petition, and like the game had a new lease of life when it came to PC with the Prepare to Die edition. And I mean, Dark Souls 2's PC release was fine, and Dark Souls 1's was famously terrible. But I hope they bring it to PC, because now they have a user base there, and they have like gamers who are only on PC who love the Dark Souls games that want more of them. So I'd see it as a step back if they did not release it on PC.
Do you think the Bloodborne engine is the same engine that Dark Souls 2 has been running on, or
No.
if it's kind of really attuned, different? Because it does have that sort of painterly look of Bloodborne as opposed to sort of the Christmas of DS2.
Yeah, I think that Dark Souls 2 was on a completely different engine that From Software made, especially for Dark Souls 2. And maybe after the feedback from the hitboxes of that game, they've gone back to Bloodborne's, which was noticeably closer to Dark Souls and Demon Souls' engine.
Yeah.
Because they must have been developed side by side, like as completely separate entities. Because, as you said, like each of the engines have a very distinct art style to them. And where Dark Souls 2 looked a bit washed out and this looks a lot more like Bloodborne. Like, if you go back again to the first screenshot with the melted sun, and just look at the person in their armor, something about it just looks like Bloodborne to me.
It's because it's got a cool flowing cape. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
Don't know. There's a few of them that do just look deliciously Demon Souls, but they've got that kind of that wisp of the atmospheric effects of Bloodborne, and it just seems more real. It's fantastic. What is that shield? Is it like a claw or? I'm watching the video through now, and I'm just getting like a little bit. It does look like a massive claw type shield. Maybe there are weapons behind the shield.
I don't know. Spike shield.
Participate in sacrifice ceremonies.
Okay, so we've got all this to cover as well. So it seems to be 1 to 4 player again, like Scholar. So whether that means not like Scholar. Scholar was 6, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so that could be
six
distributed
player,
in any way. That could be 1 to 4 player means you and everyone hates you. Also appears to have 10 classes from the outset. Similar-ish to Souls, I would have said.
Yeah, I mean, in the past 2 games they had sort of similar numbers. I mean, Bloodborne had a bit, pretty much the same as well. So,
But even in Bloodborne, the classes were more like just starting points for the same sort of thing, weren't they? Really, I don't consider Bloodborne as having classes really, just more like starting points. I don't know. Okay, some more hard numbers, which we're stealing wholesale. 45 new kinds of enemy, and 15 new bosses, and those numbers do not include things that have returned from older games.
Oh, it's magic. I've just seen a thing where it says you can create a bonfire.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
yeah.
A bit on
So
the
it
video.
says
So
you can...
How I missed this? Christ.
Okay, so what I've gathered, I've watched the video. So what I've gathered is that you can do a sacrifice ceremony now, which is somehow tied into the summoning. So you sacrifice something, probably a dude, and then you can go help other people in their world, but it does give you a bounty for sacrificing someone or something. Who knows? But it also appears to be linked that you can make your own bonfire, maybe out of a dude? I don't know.
Oh, that's cool, but could break the game in many ways. But I trust From Software at this point to do the right thing.
You can only make a bonfire from someone that's come into your game?
But then that could still be really broken. You could just make the bonfire just by a boss room.
Yeah.
And just walk straight in, couldn't you?
Well, I suppose if you've got a limited amount of kind of swords that you could put down, or I don't know. I'm curious, but one of the things that we were talking about tonight was kind of a number of people had raised the question of should Dark Souls close off after the third one. Is there too much of that going on? I'm looking at you, Patrick. Is there too much of this with the games? And I don't know. I'm looking at these screenshots, and it just feels like stuff I've never done before. And it just looks like they're shaking things up, and I'm giddy.
I don't know, because whenever we talk about From Software, yes, they made probably my favourite game of all time, and they made 2 other damn great ones. But if you look at the rest of their track record, somewhere they fuck it up. Sorry, pardon my language. But they had this mech series called the Ace series. This massive, like, loads of different Japanese mechs all coming in one game. And they had something good going on until they sort of hashed the franchise out so often and so fast that they just completely destroyed it with one bad game. And I'm worried that they're going to do that with Souls.
I think that From are in sort of a different position now to the place they were in sort of a couple of years ago. Really, that they've now got Kadakawa's backing. Kadakawa, like, incredibly cash-rich company, and the first thing they did was put Miyazaki in charge, which you can't really you can't really grumble about. And they seem to have given from their head not only to do Bloodborne, but to go back into Dark Souls 2 and really kind of tinker about with things for Scholar. So rather than from having to put a product out, I think with the eyes that are on Miyazaki now as somewhat of a leader and auteur, as a like a Hideo Kojima type figure, and all eyes being on from themselves, that I don't know, there's almost a bespoke level of I don't know, awareness and polish that's coming into those games and people looking at them, and I don't think they have to put out a crap product. I don't think they have to appease the bank or get anything out sort of quickly, and I think that's to our advantage, that this might be a way forward. And Miyazaki, you'd hope wouldn't want to see anything come out that was cack.
I suppose he wants to, but he wouldn't let anything come out with his name on it that wasn't up to his standard, would he? You'd hope.
I don't know. I'm always like, I'm not. I'll put this out there. I'm not a fan of Kingsfield. So, and you have to remember, From also made that terrible Kinect Armored Core game. Armored Core, Steel Battalion game.
Steel Battalion, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So part of me is doubting this, and part of me hopes that the franchise won't get exhausted out. Like, these screenshots excited me because I love playing these games, and I will buy Dark Souls 3 on the first day it comes out. But I don't know. They have to do something different, and I believe they have. So
yeah, I mean, those screens certainly, they don't just look like, right, let's do this kind of level, this kind of level, this kind of level, this kind of level. It's just, you look at them and you go, those are paintings. I want to go to there.
Yeah.
It's just, they look, I don't know, they look more real and more lived in than I've seen a Souls game before.
Yeah. I mean, as well, things like the places, like some of the art design there already looks like there's the couple of shots you can see with the phantom swords sticking in the ground.
Yeah.
And there's a big sort of knight type enemy there with a spear. But this leads us on to another point, which a mode or a system in it, which apparently is called Heat Up. So you can heat, potentially, again, this is all wild speculation, but it sounds like you can heat up your boss battle and make the boss battle, like, harder? Because in the same area, there's these phantom swords stuck in the ground, but instead of fighting a dude with a spear, there's like a giant, like, cat thing.
Yep.
I don't know what to call it, but it's like a giant, weird, evil cat, and it appears to be in exactly the same area. So maybe you can make a harder boss appear earlier. I don't know. That's speculation. Maybe it's tied into the sacrifice. Ugh.
Maybe. I mean, it's too early to tell at this point. But did you play Lords of the Fallen?
No.
I did not. I kind of wanted to, but I thought 40 quid was a bit of a gamble.
Well, it was bad and you shouldn't play it. But they had a similar
Okay, cool.
Where a boss would reach a certain stage and then change up its tactics, much like many Souls bosses do at certain points of their health bar. But maybe this just ramps it up in a different way, so maybe like the boss sheds some armor and becomes faster, or like or introducing like hard ridged phases for the bosses as well. I'm not sure.
Maybe the cat weasel has it's the armoured guy and he's Gascoigned the fuck up.
Possibly. Who knows, man?
He's gone full Gascoigne on us.
Okay, I'll throw this into the mix. That Dark Souls 2 had a few links to the original Dark Souls. Would you like to see more nods and winks towards those characters and those places in the original, or would you like to see it as a brand new world, brand new adventure with maybe, again, sort of the odd slice sort of nudge and piece of equipment and link to a character?
At this point, I'd say I'd want the latter. Like, with Dark Souls 2, I thought it was nice, lore-wise, to go back to that sort of universe. But from what I've heard, Scholar wraps that up pretty nicely. which I've not finished all the DLCs for Scholar, but other people have told me that this is done now. So.
Oh crap! See, that's what I was talking about earlier in the show.
We've dismantled our own show successfully today. I don't know. There's part of me that loves those characters from the original Dark Souls. That would, if there was a moment where all the hell was breaking loose, it was coming to the end. There was a boss that perhaps had other creatures that rose by your side, and it looked like nothing. That the world was going to end. That your backs were against the wall, and say somebody across the other side of the arena, who had fallen, someone that had travelled with you or an NPC or whatever, says, I will use the last of my power to summon you some champions. And if you were standing there right at the end of the fucking game, and Artorias and Solaire rose alongside you for the final battle.
Oh my lord!
Exactly. This is kind of, you'd be like, oh, I'd be in tears.
That's not Dark Souls though, man.
It's like they read my fan fiction.
That's not
maybe
Dark
that's
Souls.
it. Maybe that I am the E.L. James of Dark Souls.
Dark Souls would have Artorias and Solaire rise, and as you walk towards them, they'd only get further away.
Oh god, yeah. Or they'd be the ones that sort of joined the enemy, and the odds would be even further stacked in your.
Or Smo would just drop on you from the ceiling.
Maybe it could be like a hall of heroes. Who knows?
There's just a part of me that just wants to go ZOMFG, because I remember the point in Dark Souls 2 where Ornstein sort of comes flying out from that room, and I was like, what?
Yeah,
and
man.
I expected them to at least do that once more in Dark Souls 2, and they didn't.
I don't know.
Well, you can say they maybe did it with the gargoyles a little bit. But that's very spurious compared to meeting real Ornstein.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if it'd go into New Game Plus and kind of they might kick in sort of like Smo or I don't know. I just wondered throughout the entire game after that if I got another one of those I know who you are moments.
It was sort of like a weird cock tease, really, wasn't it? It was,
yeah.
Oh, remember Ornstein? He was really hard, wasn't he? and then they were just like, oh yeah, that was that then, and here's the rest of the game.
Yeah.
I know that's part of the reason why I'd want like a completely separate Dark Souls 3. Like I don't want them to lean too far back on Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 1. I think that's
kind of like a thread though, like just to tie it, just to loosely tie them together. Just a couple of threads would be nice though.
Well, I think they can do that quite easily, and I think there's always the Final Fantasy template of just new world, new characters, maybe with the odd little bit that ties in, and they'll always have their
Sword of Moonlight.
Yeah, they'll always have that in there somewhere, but I don't know. I'm wondering kind of. My heart was all over those characters from Dark Souls, and just sort of one of even we had the legend of Artorias before we met Artorias, and that was later content in the original Dark Souls. We had the tale of the original kind of Dragon Slayers, and we'd seen Ornstein and Smo. We got Artorias, we got Goth, and those were all kind of not dissimilar tricks that they were pulling, that there were people that we'd heard mentioned, and then we saw them in the real, and it was a big deal. And part of the reason that that original Dark Souls DLC worked so well for me was it was like, here it is, and it was like, oh my god. And it was that element of, I don't know, giving me what I wanted, but I didn't know I wanted it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made it so satisfying, and it brought a huge degree of heart, I think, to the original Dark Souls, because it was certainly the pink bow on the stories, whether it was seeing the puppy Sif, or realizing that Alvina was actually protecting Sif and Arturia's grave. She wasn't just a cat that ran a covenant. It was more than that. It was protecting a legacy, and I don't know, that all that sort of stuff is still really important to me.
I see where you're coming from, but for me, like, I think at this point I've come to accept that nothing will ever be Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing can ever be Dark Souls again.
Would you like that kind of focus on new characters then? Because I'd say that it was the characters that stood out more than anything in the first game, and that was maybe a criticism of the second one, which is valid, that they the big story was there, but we hadn't got really an Artorias or a Solaire or those.
I mean, the game, I think that Dark Souls, what made it special was the little moments, like you said, like little moments talking to Siegmeyer, or talking to like a Solaire, or just like seeing them, and the way the game is structured also made it special. Like when you got to Anor Londo and finally got the Lord Vessel, you're just like, yes, finally. And a bit of that was taken away with the warping bonfires, and they have to look at Dark Souls 1, I believe, as an example of what to do. And as great as Dark Souls 2 is, to not look at that as an example. In the nicest way possible. Dark Souls 2 is a great game. But that original Dark Souls is a masterpiece. We can all agree on that.
I think in many ways that like Dark Souls 2 took quite a lot from Demon Souls, really. And if it hadn't have been Dark Souls 2, if it had been Demon Souls 2, with maybe the odd nod and wink in there, would people have accepted it a little bit more? Because you got sort of the Nexus world, and I don't know, there seemed to be a lot of design choices which were more demons than dark, I think.
That's a tough one. Even if they named it Demon Souls 2, I think that a lot of the criticism would still hold up. Like my main gripe with that game would be the hitboxes.
Yeah.
So I would say I would still level that against the game, even if it was called Demon Souls 2. I like Demons and Dark Souls, the originals, equally. So I don't think it changed my perception of Dark Souls 2, but I think with Dark Souls 3 they have a chance to learn from the mistakes of Dark Souls 2, and again take a look back at Demon Souls and Dark Souls and look at what made them what they are today. Which I think what they have to be doing if they are making Dark Souls 3, because if they're doing it so soon, it's got to be good.
I wonder, with the umbrella of Miyazaki kind of now over the development of this, rather than whomever it was that came before, I wonder if, I don't know, there's can we place a greater trust in that regard?
Miyazaki said he, in development of Bloodborne anyway, he sort of pushed aside his presidential duties to focus on directing Bloodborne. And really, I'd say that if he handed it off to the Yuri Tanimura again, then he'd oversee it like he did Dark Souls 2. But as we've seen from Scholar, Tanimura can develop some pretty amazing stuff. So in that respect, I do believe that we should give him another chance to make his masterpiece. Because I felt that Dark Souls 2 in many ways was a diamond in the rough. Like a couple cuts here and there, and it would have been great. And that seems what's like what Scholar is. So with that chance of a fully blown new game from Tanimura, that seems great. And have Miyazaki do his own thing, maybe every 5 years or so. I mean, that for me would be the ideal situation, as to avoid burnout on Hidetaka Miyazaki games, while also still getting that Souls experience. But at the same time, I still worry about franchise exhaustion.
Yeah, well, the other side of that is that, whilst we've all been with the series for quite a while, it's now got a huge public perception that there's lots of people going like, Bloodborne was amazing.
Yeah.
So people are looking at the From and at the series in a way that they've not really looked upon them before. So I mean, we've got a far wider audience, people that were thinking that have been told by endless websites that these games are incredibly difficult, and yet there are those people that found themselves in Bloodborne and have platinumed it. It's not people bouncing off Bloodborne that in the same way as many have with Dark Souls and Demon Souls and then coming back later. It's people who've started playing that have found that kind of hook that we all got with sort of like, God, I don't know where I am, I'm lost, but I can't stop playing, and then that burst of adrenaline. And I'm seeing so many people that have actually platinumed Bloodborne, not just played through it and enjoyed it, but platinumed it. And then there's this thirst for the rest of the series now. So yeah, I'm wondering sort of how pressures of the greater focus combined against that, against burnout.
Yeah, the popularity is both a blessing and a curse, because on one hand, loads of people like the thing that I like, and that's great because it's amazing. But on the other hand, you're gonna have more business interests coming into it. Like, if I'm being completely honest here, I think that Dark Souls 3 coming so soon, if it is indeed real, is part in part due to Namco Bandai's involvement. I mean, I know they helped get Dark Souls released and get Dark Souls 2 released, and I think they will help get Dark Souls 3 released, maybe even pushed From Software to develop it quicker or earlier in order to get that sooner and get those revenues in for them.
I mean, that was a worry with the original Dark Souls, that it was for their established older audience was on old tech, but I always got the feeling that, and you know, I've got no backup for this, but I always had the feeling that they were funneled towards a release date that maybe, given the opportunity, that they'd rather given it more time.
Yeah, I mean, back in my very, very old original Dark Souls review from 4 years ago, now I think it is, I did mention that, like, it felt like they put the bun out in the oven a bit too early. So I don't know. Like, I think Bloodborne's a prime example of giving From time and giving them what they need and the support they need in order to make a great quality game. Because to me, what Bloodborne was it was like a steak. It was like a perfect steak. It had everything you needed. It didn't fill you up too much. It wasn't too bloody, you know. It wasn't too well done. It was just right.
The irony.
Just right. Whereas like Dark Souls 2 felt like this massive buffet meal, and some bits were great, but some is crap. Like for all like the cool like sweet and sour you're gonna be eating, and eat a load of low quality rice as well.
This is far too good an analogy. I just wonder, you're going to like wind into a corner and be like, same. You'll be like, crisps, biscuits.
I do think about food pretty much all the time. So. No, but that's what I feel like. I mean, just give From their time. Give them the time they need, and they will deliver. That's what I trust in. Is that if they rush it, then...
I wonder what we'll have with regards to From expanding as well. Because we've, like I say, the Catacomb is there now. Even before that, the team had expanded exponentially to take on those working on Dark Souls 2 and were working on Bloodborne. So I'm wondering if the From is going to become, you know, person-wise, is going to sort of expand again, and as to whether, I don't know, the kind of magnifying glass on them might not just bring them in extra people, but a certain caliber of people that will want to work for From. So maybe we'll have a larger amount of people at the company, but those people will be of a really high caliber.
I mean,
I remain hopeful.
Yeah, I want to hope that too. But in Japanese game development anyway, people are very loyal to the companies they work for. So they might be reluctant to leave one company for another, or that's just the culture there. of course, like, I'm not Japanese, so I can't say that for sure. Like, I haven't worked in the Japanese game industry, and like, I'm sure someone will prove me wrong somewhere. But I hope that if From do expand, then they bring in some talent, like real talent. Like, not just no names. Like, we're starting to see a lot of well-known Japanese game developers who've made games in this style leaving their companies. Like, we've seen this Bloodstained Ritual of the Night Kickstarter go up. What if From Software hired Koji Igarashi, who developed Castlevania Symphony of the Night, to help design their levels?
Or even if they just gave him his head and just went, because Castlevania obviously is a big favourite of Miyazaki's and has been a big influence. What if they just said, go on, we'll give you your head. We'll, create something for us.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty bitchin'.
And get Kojima in to do the weird stuff.
Plug your controller into the second port to control a phantom. Local co-op.
Turn down the brightness on your TV to make your enemies weaker.
Oh god, too much.
We're getting Molyneux now, aren't we?
Yep, a little bit.
I was going to say this is
okay. I'm fine with that.
This is flying clean over my head with me not having played Metal Gear.
Oh,
I know.
Makes me so angry.
Oh, it's okay, man. Like, half of them are bad.
But the half that are good are really good.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Okay. Right, I'm going to give you some more numbers now, because I wrote some more notes. I've got some more numbers for you.
Okay.
Right? So 100 new weapons. 100. 40 new armor types. And again, this is not including stuff that is returning. 200 new items, which includes rings, spells, and consumables. Again, excluding stuff that's been there before. What the hell, man? That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Do we think that's too many weapons?
No.
Because if there was anything,
Bloodborne had like 10.
Yeah, but Bloodborne was this cool steak. Remember, we have to remember this. Dark Souls 2 has always been this. I mean, Dark Souls anyway has always been this cool, massive thing. So I want to see all the swords from all the different nations. Damn it! Give me another Boulder Side sword.
I was wondering if we'd get the situation like Dark Souls 2, where for many folks it was just too much of the same thing.
Here's 19 swords that are all just a little bit different, but not enough, really.
But that's
too many.
I don't know. Seeing loads of numbers on a screen in a game just it tickles me somewhere. It's like, oh, okay, hello, how are we doing?
Okay, well, on those swords. Okay, now CJ, you called this about 4 million years ago.
What?
All right.
What have I done?
So there's something called something else that's mentioned called sword fighting arts. Okay, and there are two that were mentioned called Rush In and Circle. It sounds like you can put special moves on your weapons, is the way I heard that.
What?
So you can take your choppy sword and maybe give it a poke, or maybe give yourself the ability to roll out of the way. Remember that article you wrote about 9 years ago about that?
Oh dear Lord!
They read it.
Nah, what?
Do you think?
No, it just makes me excited that you could say in PvP it would look like somebody's got a certain kind of weapon, but their moveset could be tailored to something bespoke, something individual.
Imagine if the fist.
Oh, he's got a rapier. Why is he throwing it at me?
Imagine if the fist items just had a god hand mode, and you could just assign moves from god hand to those fists. Oh god.
Ballbuster on everything.
Oh no, the bit
right in the undead ghoulies.
No.
Right, well, that was awesome. Thank you very much for joining us at this late stage special report at Same Ahmed.
No worries. Happy
it's
to
been
come on.
Double cool, and please come back for a full show, because we'll have a proper natter about all of it.
Absolutely, this was fun.
Cool. Right, we'll see you soon then.
Goodbye.
Oh, bye. Returning to normal programming. Returning to normal programming. Returning to normal programming. So, elsewhere, sort of connected to Dark Souls 3, Jay Holden on Twitter, who's @_Jay Holden, has got a superb essay regarding marketing Dark Souls 3, of where he believes a lot of trailers go wrong, his ideas for pushing things forward, of keeping things, aspects held back, not showing like bosses off or any of that sort of stuff. It's a really great read, and deserves to be sort of read in full. So jump onto Jay's Twitter and please check it out, because it's a great read. Likewise, Illusory Wall has a fantastic piece on why Dark Souls 3 should strive for weirder online elements. And I don't know, I read this first thing this morning, and there was loads of stuff about the first Dark Souls that are real quirks that I've completely forgotten about in that regard. Probably because I've been playing so much Dark Souls 2. But for example, where is it? He says here, Dark Souls 1 was the pinnacle of asynchronous multiplayer for the Souls series. Future titles should take note. With rumours about the possible upcoming announcement of Dark Souls 3, there's been a lot of discussion regarding what people want to see from it. For me, something near the top of my list is weird online features. While Demon's Souls deserves credit for being the most innovative, having introduced the core online components for the series, with Dark Souls 1 they made a dedicated effort to expand the indirect multiplayer interactions. It seems to me that at some point in the design stage they must have asked themselves, so what else can we do? Here's what they came up with. And for example, vagrants. Remember the vagrants in Dark Souls?
Still never seen one.
Yeah, I've had two. But yeah, that was really, really bizarre. And as he's saying here, vagrants are the creatures created by the actions of other players online. They either died and lost the bloodstain, or dropped and left certain items around in order to spawn these creatures in your world. Their exact workings were mysterious to the community for a long time. What I liked about this is how they contributed an element of surprise, since you never knew when you might find one waiting for you. Surprises like this were a huge bonus for spicing up the replay value, given how rare they were. So he goes on with Gravelord Black Phantoms.
Yeah, never saw one.
Nope, me neither. Miracle Synergy.
Oh, the little weird rings on the ground that appear.
Yeah, the polo mints on the ground.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. Cursed statues.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was still something that we'd not really seen before, weren't they? Yeah, but they were an anomaly in Dark Souls, weren't they? Because you were like, what? That's the previous player. I suppose it might even be further down on this list. Oh, it is further down this list, but the ringing of the church bell. It's like that's somebody that's done the level, really. So this was one that I completely forgot, which was Estus via kindling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, another form of assistance occurred when other players kindled the same bonfire you previously rested at. This effect is marked with the golden aura that the player soaks in when it's received. That was really cool. So we've got ringing the church bell, but yeah, it's a really good read, and I hope that's given you a wee taste for it. But it's illusorywall.tumblr.com, or go to illusorywall on Twitter. I'll try. I always forget to do a link dump with these things, but I'll have to try to do it this time.
We'll do it this time. We'll remember.
I shall make a note. So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, weird online stuff. I love weird online stuff. Like the stuff I enjoy most. I mean, obviously everybody enjoys the notes and stuff. But I think Bloodborne, when your note gets rated fine, you get the health. Your health gets completely restored, I think.
It's a bit understated this time, though.
It's helped me a couple of times, like one or two times I had to save my butt, but it's not as kind of weird and obtuse, maybe, as it could be. There's things like there's more dudes around a lantern if there's more dudes there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I like little weird stuff with the dudes. Maybe make it all via the dudes. Just mess with the little dudes. I like the little dudes.
Well, you've got insight as well, I guess, for Bloodborne, that people ain't got a fucking clue how it worked until that guide came out.
Even then, I'm not sure if I believe some of it with Insight, because you read things, you think, nah, come on, that never worked like that. Come on, I'm sure I did that before that. Well, a lot of it's changed now anyway, so yeah, good luck.
Yeah, so we'll leap straight into this because we're going to Bloodborne stuff.
Did you see that segue I did?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
I was working towards it. I was finding a way in, and I found one.
In a segment we'll refer to as Paddy Patch.
Thanks.
So, Paddy, tell us about the patch.
Well, the patch. Well, there's a lot of mechanics news in this. So, oh boy, mechanics news fan, you're in for a treat. Yeah, another patch has hit. Bloodborne 104, patch 104, with a whole host of changes. Most of them for the better, as far as I can tell. Now, most importantly, the new. What's the word I'm thinking of? Maximum. Wow, I'm not good at words tonight. The new maximum on blood vials and on quicksilver bullets is now 600. Previously, it was only 99. So when you were fighting your way through a boss and your blood vials fill automatically when you die and you come back alive, and it gives you the 20 back up to the top again. If you're having problems with a terrible a hard boss, and you blitz through all your blood vials, you've then got to go and farm them for another a while before you can do it. Now you have a maximum of 600. Any extra you collect obviously go in the bank, and quicksilver bullets I found this with particularly. In my first game I was getting to a point where I was collecting bullets and it was saying, right, you can't pick any more up at all, you've got infinite now, you can't have any more. And then 10 minutes later it would blast through pretty much all of them. I'd be like, but I left so many on the floor back there, could I not just... So now, 600, it's brilliant. It's means you can now farm the shit out of blood vials and bullets for a while and then be totally fine. And I think that applies to things like Molotovs and Pebbles as well. I might be wrong on that.
I didn't realise that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you can now hold more stuff in your inventory. You can still only hold like 20 of each and 10 of the items in your actual inventory at one time. But it's much less time between having to go and farm when you don't do. But yeah, that's probably biggest change. Next up, the password matching you can use to match up and play together. It used to rely on the same summoning range restrictions that regular summoning did. So you could only summon someone about 10 levels up or down from where you are. Which, if you're playing with friends and someone's played ahead a little bit, you couldn't summon them. You're out of range. It wasn't going to work. Now they have removed that limitation. So as long as you're using the password matching, so if you've both written Dave in your password, your level 20 guy can bring in a friend who's level 80 to help you, even if your oaths, your covenants, are opposed. Whereas previously, if your covenants were opposed and you log in, you have to fight. Now you are friends, which is kind of cool. And they're apparently keeping the hostile stuff and the level range stuff to the random matchmaking, which I'm okay with.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty sensible.
Yeah.
Nice little bit of equilibrium maintained.
Yeah, and it's knocking back the limitations for playing with your mates. So, for example, like myself, when I was waiting for you to catch up to where I was in Bloodborne, there's only so much I could do at one point. I had kind of got to a point where I couldn't level up anymore and just had to run around farming blood vials for hours. And now we can just level up to our heart's content, which I'm very happy with.
Marvellous!
Yeah, next up, Insight Store is now different. It now appears when the player has a single insight and doesn't go away. Previously, the limit was 10, and now it appears at 1. So as soon as you've seen that cleric beast, you can get into that shop and it will stay there forever. Whereas previously, something that annoyed the shit out of me, when you would go to the shop and you had just over 10 insight, so you had 11, and you go in the shop and you buy an item that costs you 3, Gascoigne's Garb, for instance, and you knock out to put it on and see what it looks like, and the messengers will bugger off. And then you can't do it again until you're back over 10. Now, it stays unlocked even if you have 0. So once you've unlocked it, it's there.
What do you think to this? Do you think this is a good thing, or do you think it's a bad thing?
Good thing. I think good thing.
Why?
Because I like because I've got
Bananas.
lots of insight. Like on my first run, okay, it was kind of it took a long time to work out why the hell the shop kept vanishing. Because there were things I wanted to try out, and I didn't get the time to do them. I had the insight to buy stuff, but it wouldn't let me physically do it. Gating that behind the insight of 10, which a lot of people will have 10 of all the time anyway. Like, I don't think 10's not an unreasonable amount of insight to have at any given point. I mean, I finished my first run on 70, so it's not unreasonable. And I'd bought all the items from there. I'd bought every item of clothing that existed. I don't know, it makes it easy to get in for an early player and not have to think, oh, I could buy that, but I might save it. But you buy it, screw it, go for it. I'm happy with that. Good change. Next good change. More blood chunks. More ways to get blood chunks. Blood chunks appear in more dungeons, the Chalice dungeons, and you can now buy them from the shop for a whopping 30 insight, which is quite a lot. And at that point, you really should have gone and farmed some. But yeah, if you're having problems upgrading your weapons past the Pluck 6 point, chunks are now buyable. I'm not sure how worth it is for 30 insight for a single chunk, but it's there. It's an option.
Back in my day.
Well, now up. Anything else? Anything else important? I've written this down somewhere. Yeah, nothing else massive. A few tweaks to some of the spells, a few tweaks to some of the weapons. The rifle spear bug has been fixed now, so you can't just load it up with arcane gems and spam L2 and win. Yeah, it's quite a good patch, focused on making it easier for you to play the game and getting over those stupid little hurdles that often stop you from getting in with your mates. So yeah, patch 104. I'm going to give you 104 out of 104. Well done. You're a good patch.
104 is a great number to give a score out of.
Yeah, 1.04 out of 1.04, it must be said.
No, 104 is better.
104 out of 104? Yeah.
Sounds like an 8.
Sounds like a radio station.
So, yeah, we've got quite a lot to talk about with our Bloodborne run. So we're going to leap straight into that this time. And the revelation, I'm not enjoying Bloodborne.
What?
Right.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, I'll say it again. I'm not enjoying Bloodborne.
Jesus Christ.
Here we go. Right,
I know where you live, you know.
Just give me my soul box. Right, so we were prepping for a podcast last week with regards to advancing a little bit further in Bloodborne, because we'd already done the scholar bits and pieces. We'd left things after the Bloodstarved Beast. I'd kind of gone in while I was waiting for you and had a bit of a tinker around here and there and just wasn't feeling it. The compulsion that had been sort of driving me through Scholar and just wouldn't let me go, it just wasn't there. And I was kind of, battering about a bit, admiring the fight mechanics, the weapons, the scenery, the way things went floaty, bouncy, float, and just something wasn't clicking for me. Whether it was the pace that I was taking it at, with coming back to it interspersed with huge swathes and dollops of Scholar, or because we were punctuating it with our co-op little bits now here and there. I don't know. Just wasn't there, and it was getting to me a bit. So yeah, on that evening we were getting ready to co-op a bit more, and we were monkeying around in the Cathedral Ward. So I'd set up the password. Had you set up the password?
I think I did.
Mm-hmm. You sure about that? Yeah.
It's a bit twitchy.
Mm-hmm. I think no, because of your revelation a few nights later when you went like, oh. Well, it was like, yeah, we had got a password, but there we go. So, in the Cathedral Ward, I'd wandered past the lamp. I'd hit a couple of Donald Sutherlands, which is, I'd refer them to them as Donald Sutherlands, because you know that picture from, is it Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where he's like, ah! And there's
exactly that noise.
Like elongated face, man. There's those guys with the sticks that kind of go like, And I always imagine they're Donald Sutherland, just like painted white. So chalky faced Donald Sutherland.
Yep.
That sounds like you're referring to a drug. All right, mate. You got any chalky faced Donald Sutherland? I'm sorry,
and they
mate.
just point at you and go,
yeah, you've OD'd, mate. I've got a couple of cheeky muppets. So yeah, I'd hit a couple of those lads. I jollied up a set of stairs to a gate that I thought I'd opened, but I hadn't. I came back down again, and an incident occurred, which I can only refer to as the bag. So,
yeah.
I thought you were
I've been
naturally.
waiting to hear this story for a fucking week.
I thought you were naturally laughing then, and then I thought you were putting it on, but you were actually naturally laughing. So you need to maybe work on your laughter sincerity.
No.
Is that why you don't work at that funeral home anymore? My dad's dead. Oh, sorry, you mean it. You're in the right place then. I'm Patrick.
Good one. Slap on the back.
So yeah, let me take a drink because I've had some incense burning. Hashtag on brand. So a spider lad that I hadn't seen before, skulking round a corner, quite the hunched mofo, wriggly bag with him. Just looked like an easy target for a bit of Kirkhammer justice.
The crack hammer.
Yeah, I love my Kirkhammer.
I think of it as the crack hammer though, because it kind of goes crack.
Well, we'll come to that.
We'll get there.
We'll come to that.
Anyway, Bagman.
I don't think I was taking off an awful lot of health. You were still fanning about trying to find me, and believing somehow that we couldn't be summoned.
Oh, no, I'm right on this one. Actually, no. Yeah, I remember now, and I'm right, because there has to be a complete path open to the boss before you can summon, and I don't think I had it, and I'm not sure if you had it or not, but I definitely didn't have it. So, yeah, in your face.
The gate might be the problem.
The gate was shut in your face.
Yeah, but we opened the gate the next time that I went through. The gate
And
was
then
still
it was
shut.
banned.
Yeah, but the gate was still shut at that point.
I don't mean that gate. There are many gates. Anyway, Bagman.
Right, so yeah, I don't think I was taking off an awful lot of health.
No.
You were fanning about trying to find me, and believing that somehow we couldn't be summoned, which I thought was the password. And suddenly I was out of it, not dead, just gone. And I woke up in Gyol.
In the Hojian Gaul.
Gaul. Let's go see Gaul. So Gaul with a G. So
the Legend of Gauli.
Yeah. So you heard cries. You were trying to ascertain what had happened from my bemused, broken, and eventually disorientated.
I wanted to kind of say, I wanted to outright ask, did the bag thing happen? But I didn't want to spoil it. I was like, so where are you? What's going on?
No, it was better than that.
Oh.
I remember this succinctly. I was broken, bemused, and kind of frightened. I was pretty tired from the from work as well. So part of me was like, and what? And then I heard you go, oh, I know where you are. Before you went what happened? Don't tell me. Save for the podcast.
Yep.
Darkened rooms, massive lads that I stole very little help from, all big hitters and gangly kicks under their bathrobes. There were these old women hunched on all fours that were running at me like a dog scared by a pop balloon, which was mirrored by my reaction when I went through that little doorway, and she just went and just started scampering out of it, and I was like, oh, whoa. It pretty much was that noise.
She really wants to do your eyebrows, doesn't she?
So yeah, she does. Honestly, that's why she doesn't work at the Westfield.
Some of those fucking things in town. They run out. Do you want a makeover?
So yeah, I died many times. I had no way out. I was absolutely panting it. You'd long since gone.
When I found out where you were, I was like, right, we need to do this another night. I'm going to leave you to it for a while.
Yeah, you'd long since gone. With a delighted, might I add.
Oh God, I'm so happy.
I'll leave you to it. There was glee in your exit, sir.
I'll see you when you eventually get out.
A chuckle and a giggle as that happened.
Yeah, I giggled.
And so I was left to make headway. Like I say, I'd had a long day at work. My eyes were kind of failing, but this is the thing. My adrenaline was going all sort of boing, 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 boing. And the day after at work, it was on my mind. It was under my skin. So yeah, thanks, man. So I went back after work the next day, and after sort of cramming a butty into my face hole, made headway further into the goal. So getting my timing right with the big lads, kind of giggling at that noise they make when they're charging out, which sounds like the onset of the best keyboard solo ever.
Oh God!
It cannot be replicated by a human mouth.
No,
but it is the greatest thing, and I still giggle.
All the Foley in the world cannot replicate that.
Because it's the build up to the greatest guitar solo ever as well. It just sounds like it's launching. So I eventually found my way to a lamp with all of the blood echoes.
Okay.
And I bounced back to Understream to spend it on leveling up. Did this a few times. Found is it Tonitus?
The I always called it the Tontrius, but I think it's the Tonitrus.
That's probably right. Because at first I was thinking it was as the Tonitrus. You're like, let me have a look at your phone.
You say that. I think you might be right with it there, though.
What, Tonitus?
Tonitrus.
No, I was saying tinnitus, like it was. That just sounds like one of those JML things that I do. Would you like tinnitus? Would you like it tonight? Listen to No More Music with Tinnitus. JML. I kind of I found the tinnitus.
Lightning mace.
I found the stick with some lecky on it. So that was kind of licking at those old ladies with its electric-y kind of that thing with the left one where it just goes like where it might as well be going like I'm gonna fuck you up, but in sort of electric.
Yeah.
And then
check out my infinite bolt paper. Wha-ching!
Yeah, although I did apply bolt paper to it at a certain point.
Does that even work?
Well, it lingers for longer without having to. This sounds like on the advertising trailers again, doesn't it? Bolt paper lingers for longer. But yeah, I'm sure I did it by accident. I might have been applying it to the Kerr camera, and it might have still applied to the Tonitrus. But it just means that where the Tonitrus you can do that burst charge, and then when it's gone, you're not quite hitting as hard. Whereas the bolt paper just kept the effect on for a little bit longer. So yeah, I then wandered a little bit further out and found some more massive pigs. Smashed the fuck out those big bacon bastards.
Did you
screaming
put your hand in the bum?
No, just I really like doing those in, especially with the Kirk hammer. Always with the Kirk hammer. And I found myself in my head at first, and then vocalizing it, screaming, "Bacon down!" Which is like, again, it's like a JML thing. Like, do you like taking things down? Do you like bacon? Try bacon down. Take down the bacon down.
Well, that's just given me a horrible thought about when you do the riposte from the back and you put your hand in and sort of pull the heart out. Is that like the pork scratching?
Now, you see, I know you can do that, but there's just a simple joy of waiting for them to do that kind of delete. I'm coming now. I'm coming in a minute. I'm falling on you. When they do that, I just like kind of smashing them in the face. Smashing the pigs in the face is the best bit. So I don't.
On this we disagree, sir. I believe that putting your hand in the pig's bum is the best bit.
And join us on next week's Country File when we're visiting Norfolk. So yeah, I had a bit of a few sways at those more beige dogs. In Yarnum, was there only one colour of dog? Were they all
yes,
beige?
I believe it was just beige.
Just beige. So yeah, I got to a point where there was a drop in the landscape, and there were a couple of messages on the floor saying, "Warning, large foes ahead." And at that point, it was like, I don't think so. I mean, it was time to co-op again.
Wait, do you mean the drop on the way outside through the tunnel?
Yeah, you go through kind of a pathway, and then there's a drop, and there's an equal kind of small pathway going in the opposite direction, leading up to probably, I think what I used from you was a boss door.
Yeah, that and
Yeah, so I didn't go for that generally because I think I got to that point with a decent amount of blood echoes again. So I was like, nope, let's take these back to the bank.
Just to take these home.
So yeah,
But there's actually, do you believe that? So when I first did my first run of Blooders, and I had the bag thing happen, and I, again, similarly, I just panicked. I was like, what's going on? What's it doing? Laura, come look at this. Look at this. What's happening on the screen? I got to the lamp quite quickly. I pieced the fuck out. I never went back.
It's such a good level.
I pieced the fuck out. I was like, nope, I don't need to be here. This is horrible. Bye, and then just forgot all about it for most of the game.
It is such a good level though, and as much as I still kind of freak out a little bit about those guys that do the keyboard solo. Even when I feel quite cocky and I'm like, right then, come on. No, not both of you. No, not both of you.
Well, that place has the very handy point where you can trap them on the stairs and farm them easily. Not that you'd ever do that.
The special bit of the stairs.
That special bit where they just bang their little heady and they're like, oh, I can't.
Yeah.
If only I could lean over. But nope, I'm a tall man. In tall places.
Kermit had that song. Was it? No, it was Robin, wasn't it? Yeah, the smaller version of Kermit where he's had on the stairs where I live. We're like, on the stairs where I hit.
The thing is, even using the stair trick to kind of hop them, I still died a couple of times from getting a bit too cocky with me big extended double cleaver.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about the Kirkhammer that I just never get bored of, and especially like because there's such a long lead up to the R2 attack. There's this degree of kind of or like don't look like
well, I had the same sort of feeling with the threaded cane. Like, I don't think I ever switched out for my entire first run of the threaded cane because it just felt like you walk around with it thinking, yeah, I'm pimping, I'm big pimping right now, and it felt good to do the R2 stab with it as well, like the and then poke, and I'm gonna poke out your eye, and then your other eye, and then you're gonna die. Ha! But yeah, I know what you mean. Like you get into a groove with a weapon, and it's quite hard to get out of that groove.
I don't know. I mean, there's a few people have said that Bloodborne takes a few cues weapon-wise from Monster Hunter, with things like the Monster Hunter's got the switch axe and a really wide variety of weapons, but with things like the switch axe on the gunlance, there's kind of a twofer within the weapondom, and I don't know. I think there's something in using the Kirkhammer which gives me a similar feeling to Monster Hunter with regards to it being about specific pacing to do a lot of damage. I mean, Monster Hunter, I'm always about the longsword, but it's I don't know. There's more of a degree of kind of the big massive great swords from Monster Hunter in the Kirkhammer, perhaps. I don't know, but yeah.
But you've always got the options as well, though, haven't you, with the Bloodborne weapons? You could always, not that I've ever seen you use it, but you've always got the sword in there as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, sort of generally, yeah. I've not really used the sword bit of the Kirkhammer, and I was questioning this a touch last night when I was going back through the Réole again, and just sort of like trying that out, and I was like, why haven't you really used this that much? Because you've leveled up the Kirkhammer a fair bit now. So, but still, with the smaller bits like the cream dogs, and the kind of old ladies. It's been using the tonitrus this time. Sure, yes. But yeah, we then sort of vaulted into having a bash at the vicar, so to speak.
In your world first, I believe.
Yeah, we had a proper kind of twat around the level. You let me have my head this time.
I let you lead. I relegated myself to following and backup. I was happy to let you choose the direction, which I think is the way to play it, isn't it? I wasn't going to point you out anything unless you needed it.
Well, there was really the point where we got to the boss gate, and you were like, look, there is one area that you have kind of missed that you might want to have a look at, which was kind of cool because even though I'd been around that level quite a lot, I was enjoying us just hitting anything that we could, and especially when we were doing the drop attacks from either side of some raised platforms and waiting for
the stairways up towards the vicar. Yeah. And that delightful moment where you were shouting something like, "Here comes the boom!" and then the giant appeared from behind and utterly fucked us both up.
Yeah, I'm sure we dropped on those. I don't know if they were the guys carrying the crucifixes, or if they were Donald Sutherland's.
They were a couple of Donalds, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure we thought that they were dead, and then they started hitting us again. It was like, oh, that didn't quite work, did it?
And then Mr. Giant showed up, literally at the point you said, "Here comes the boom." And then just, massive great axe appears out of nowhere. I just pissed myself and ran away.
No, you didn't. Because I kind of went like... And as I went like that, you went like... It was like this...
It's funny as hell.
It was like this kind of tempestuous and troubled Scooby-Doo was on the other end of the microphone, which in turn made me giggle.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as we sort of backed it around, I realised that I positioned myself as the sniper of the group, given that you were effectively kind of the grunt on the ground that was sort of really hacking and thrashing and grabbing its attention. And I was kind of occasionally kicking in with this kind of crack, except not from miles away with a gun, but right here and with a hammer.
All up in your business.
Yeah. And I named us Team Toothpaste because you were armed with a weapon. And I had a hammer. It was tentative, but you said you liked it at the time, and I'm holding to that.
I enjoyed it at the time. I think, and like thinking back on it, I mean,
it's quite weak, really, isn't it?
You've really been cosplaying a Metal Gear character. Like, if you're the sniper, you're wearing the Grey Wolf outfit. You're Sniper Wolf.
I don't understand that reference.
She's a lady who shoots people, and that's her code name.
It's not relevant to my interests.
Oh, we need to fix you.
I will try to hit you. Oh, that was something that I was thinking of when I was going through the other night. I was thinking of Cold Blood Echoes. I was just thinking of like a version of Coldplay that had sort of slightly sinister lyrics.
Oh.
That's why I was running through going, I will try to hit you. But making that delay until after I'd swung the hammer.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
nice.
I was having fun with it. But
I told you about the extra areas. I think we went down all of the alternate paths, I think. We made a couple of steps down them and got viciously sent back. Particularly the path to the right, if you remember that one.
Well, I was exploring everywhere, so it was really only that point that you said, oh, there's a bit that we've kind of missed, but
oh no,
yeah,
I mean the path to the right of the big door of the cathedral, the path where we looked on a roof and we looked down and there was a man with a tonitrus.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, people who have played Bloodborne will know exactly what we're talking about. There's an area with a tonitrus man stood in the middle of a big open plaza.
You see, I don't know what that was, but I have memories and fears of the man in the Karamak outfit. That is where Father Gascoigne was. Mm-hmm. Who I was like, oh, there's a man there, I'll go, and I'm dead. So we explored all over in both games, really. You had a ton of NPCs in Shadow in the cathedral that I hadn't met yet or weren't in that area.
And I'll tell you for why. I'll tell you this for nothing. On this run, I'm trying to get all the NPC quests done. I'm trying to get
Apologies to all of our listeners from Ireland.
What?
I thought you were doing a really, really poorly done Irish accent.
No, that's just my voice. It happens sometimes.
No, it's...
Anyway, I'm trying to do all the NPC quest lines, and I'm trying not to miss anything. And the Bloodborne strategy guide, which we've talked about before, has a wonderful section at the very start of Chapter 6, The Hunter's Appendices, and it shows you exactly which steps you need to do, what order you need to go to the places and talk to the people and kill the thing in order to get the maximum amount of stuff, to get everything. So at the minute, I am completely 100% for it. I've done everything right. Even the thing I nearly fucked up, I managed to do it. And have about 1,000 emotes now, which is pretty cool.
What?
Yeah, the emotes. I've got like 7 more.
For anybody that's kind of tuning in and doesn't know this, Patrick's rinsed naturally Bloodborne, and now he's kind of doing it by numbers to sort of get everything, to see everything, to
the full combo, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see it all. Thank you very much. Because there's a few quest lines and a few NPCs I never friggin' met. Like, you watch people stream and you're thinking, who is that? Who is that person sitting there in the chapel? I've never met this person. Why are they there? Who is that? Is it too late? Yes, it's too late. Shit. But it's kind of cool seeing all the stuff that I've missed. And obviously now I've done my first kind of tentative getting everything wrong run. I'm doing my second, full playthrough run. And... getting all the rewards that come of it, including a couple of rather sexy new emotes. One of them, which is a rather coy little sort of shh, holding up a single finger to your mouth and being all like, shh.
I think I saw something on a video where somebody had left a message and it was something like, jump off for treasure, and then there was like one of those, one of those kind of. Emotes sort of over the top, which is kind of
feels
cool.
good.
I really like that.
It feels good. Mixed that with Fashionborn, and yeah, happy man. I'm only doing it for the emotes. I don't want to get a full clip or anything else. I just want to get the freaking emotes.
The truth will out, sir.
Emotes and outfits. Emotes and outfits. That's all the world needs.
Emotes and outfits remind me of you. So yeah, we had a few swipes at the Vicar. And there's a Twin Humanities tradition in co-op, isn't there, Patrick?
There is. It's a time-honoured tradition.
Would you care to explain yourself before I?
Right. It's the tradition of noodle arms. So what happens is we'll go to do a boss fight, and when we do it in my world, we'll do quite well, won't we? We'll generally ace it in one go. You'll batter in. I'll keep my head about me, and we'll do well. And then what we'll do is we'll do it in your world, and we'll go in, and what will happen is usually quite early in the fight, I'll make a spectacular error of judgment and die on my arse, promptly completely leaving you in the shit to then further die later on. And this happened once again in full force. I don't think I actually even hit Vicar Amelia. She just jumped at me, went, a big claw, you're dead now. I'm sorry, I'm gone. And you just had that incredulous... What?
You see, the Pat brings his A game, and I mean his absolute game, in his own game. And when drawn to another world, there's dying.
You have less health and you seem to take more damage. I'm almost certain you do. It kind of felt like I was way squishier.
In this instance, kind of like, yeah, I heard your murmurings of death, and I was like, what? And you were like, yeah, oh God. And then like there was silence, so I was sort of really concentrating and trying to fight Vicar, and I just heard this, how are you getting on? It was like really, really sheepish.
Yeah, I did feel a bit guilty. The thing is, the worst part is I was trying to use my Hunter's Bone item, which lets me kind of cool kind of short-range Nightcrawler teleports. It was while I was using that, which is that she got me. If I had that equipped, I would have been able to dodge it no problem.
In my game.
In your game. In my game, barely got touched. I think I sat there with my flamethrower, just roaring away at a game.
You see, this all dates back to Dark Souls with bloody Ornstein and Smough. Like the first time in your run,
it's the one bro run, wasn't it?
It was beyond perfect, right? And then old Bobby 9 Life Suicide Cat comes into my world, it's like, oh, I'm dead. It's a lack of respect, and so
look, one bro is hard.
So in my world, 1 death and 1 win against Falcor McMuppety, and a straight win in Patrick's game.
It wasn't
win.
Like it was not
it's
even
incredible.
We barely even got touched. Like I think I might have used a vial for the whole fight, and stood there emptying the flamethrower out, just giggling like a dick,
setting fire to its wonderful locks.
Its wonderful white backside. And this then continued once we finished the co-op, because I went down to the boss that you saw and went away from in the Gahul. And I went in and I beat it without intending to. Utterly battered it without using a single blood vial. Battered the fucker. And I felt so good about that. I put that up on YouTube. And if you search on my YouTube, on Paddy Stardust, on Twitter, you will find that, and you will see how good of a player I can be. And it's rare. It's rare. It's only
hard
when
not
I'm
to take this personally.
I know, and I kind of finished it. I thought, CJ's going to be really upset about that when he sees that.
We've been friends for a long time, but there's sometimes there are these anomalies, and they test the friendship, and you just go, things happen. But when things continually happen, and the grooves are worn in, the scars, the scathing nails are dragged along your soul time after time, where it's another knife from the cutlery drawer, you go, pattern.
Well, I say this to you, shush emote.
Right, so
there's always a plan.
No,
it's to make you a better gamer.
No, shush. So actually, this is quite relevant with you fucking shutting up, right? So then, after defeating Vicar Amelia, I cuddled the skull, snared some sort of memory, and I was like, oh, cool. And you were all like, and I'm like, in fact, I think I did.
I
just
forgot
like that.
about the cutscene.
Yeah. So
because I hadn't mashed my hand into it yet.
So I had to shush you like a toddler.
You did. I'd completely forgotten about the thing that happens when you rub your face on the skull to learn its knowledge.
Knowledge.
Oh, delicious knowledge. Drink that insight.
With a straw. So I then went back to Hunter Stream and I had a pop at buying the Ludwig sword, which I believe is the Primarch sword of Bloodborne. For people elsewhere in the world, Primarch is kind of a very cheaply priced clothing store in the UK. So,
but an excellent place to get the basics.
Really?
Honestly.
Oh dear.
I live in Primark shirts. They're brilliant. They're quite skinny, which fits my frame quite well.
Jesus Christ.
Honestly.
Podcast over. If anyone was wondering, I am the classy one. So I got the
living room cornflakes.
Yeah, living room.
Anytime you're trying to outclass me, I've always got that in the back.
No, I still had that thing when I was having lunch at work, and because I work in a coffee shop, I get like free coffee and free milk and stuff, and I had at that point I was having cornflakes with soy milk with sugar-free vanilla and a few ice cubes in there, which was really cheap on the one hand, like 30p a box of cornflakes, like Game On, and was like really nice because it was it wasn't particularly heavy if I got rest of the day to do at work. And I had this one kid walk past me one time and just go like, hipster. so eating, mind you, I suppose I was in the middle of a shopping centre at the time, but yeah, you do sometimes get some looks from families like.
Centre, I've got to say that it's kind of on the limit, on the edge of it there.
No, I don't know. It was funny in that case because I nearly spat my cornflakes right across the table. But it is wonderful when you get.
Were you writing a novel on your iPad at the same time?
No.
Okay,
no,
then I think we're okay. Was
there
a typewriter in the room?
It is always funny when you get kind of some sort of shambling, lumbering family who kind of go past and they just kind of lean like they're having some sort of stroke as they walk past. They're like, "I'm having a breakfast cereal and it's not in his house." Anyway, so the Ludwig sword sort of appears to be the Primarch sword of Bloodborne. So joining the two fire longswords from Demons and Dark and Demons and Dark 2 and the Drake sword from Dark.
And some would argue there's Zweihander.
What? No, that's not Primarch sword.
You pick it up super early and it's super brilliant forever.
The Primarch sword is the most popular item used by the masses to go through the game. You don't want to let on that you're wrong, do you?
No, I disagree.
No.
Moving on.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was back at Hunter Stream. I bought the big flowing feather coat that I loved when I had the lock-in with the preview at game. So now I look like a dancer for Andy Warhol. So that makes me happy.
Are you the Black Swan now?
I haven't really named myself yet, although with that kind of beak mask that I had to go back and sort of get a few blood echoes to afford. I still don't think I've got the gloves, but and I still don't know if I'm going to wear it fully. But I am. I don't know if I'm delighted by others bouncing feathers now or distracted by them.
It's a lovely piece, and I think the shake-off cape animation was made for that particular piece.
Oh, I haven't used that yet.
Dude, oh my god, get on that.
I haven't used it with it.
Feather physics, yo.
Oh, I'll try that. I'll try that soon.
Oh, girl. Oh, that cape.
I'll tell you what,
so
I'll try that for the first time when we next co-op.
Yes.
I won't do it beforehand. Because I might go back to that kind of white dragon look that I had with the previous. Is it the Ashen?
The Grey Wolf outfit.
Yeah.
The Dura.
It's pretty cool. So, So,
right.
Yep. Scholar then. Do you want to get a cup of tea first? Do you want to put in a little break here?
A little break with some music, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, fire up the commercial break.
Okay.
Honk.
Right, so we're back with Scholar of the First Sin this time. So,
and a brew, shall we say?
Sorry?
And a brew.
Yeah, we've got a brew.
What are you
as well.
drinking? We haven't done this bit yet. What are you drinking?
Well, given that, as I was doing the show notes a little bit earlier, I had a filter coffee with 2 shots of Kenya cinnamon syrup and hot whole milk. So I was coffeed up like a motherfucker. So I am just chilling late night with an ice cold lemonade.
Ooh.
It's
not really coffee news, is it?
It's no. Well, there is a bit of coffee news in there because that's a drink I haven't mentioned before. But at this point, I am kind of I'm happy with my coffee consumption and need my whistle wet or something. Have you got common or garden tea again?
I have made myself a cup of something unusual this time.
This is going to be a lie, isn't it?
No, it's not a lie.
Because if you say something unusual, it's like grey squirrel coat.
No, I have made myself a cup of tea.
There's
Do you know what
Paddy.
the Foley was there?
No.
The Foley was a cream ladies Wellington boot.
Okay, right. So
I'm going to a wedding and it might be in a field and Laura wanted to look nice with welly boots.
Right, so
it smells.
There you go, people. There's Patrick's tea news.
Tea news.
Tea news.
Tea news?
Tea news.
Isn't that weapon you picked up, the tea newstress? Maybe?
Cut this out.
Now it's staying in.
Shut up!
Scholar of the First Sin, everybody.
Right, my solo run. So I'm deep into the Crown of the Sunken King at present. I think I mentioned last time that I'd beaten the Grave Robbers, as I think they're called, like the triple boss fight, which is really, really fucking cool. I'm currently mauling into a rather ace dragon called Sin, who reminds me a great deal of Calamite, with all of those twirly, swirly, like, what are you going to do? You've dodged out the way, kind of moves. but with poison fire.
What?
Poisoned fire.
Now that's a sin.
Bitchin'. So yeah, that's ace. And I've played through. I think I mentioned last time that I've gotten to Sir Alon, which I hadn't played through before. I think he's in.
It's Alone. I think you'll find.
You are not alone. I am here with you. Oh, away. I don't know that song.
Forever Alone.
But that's yeah. That fight's amazing. The Sir Alon fight, I absolutely adore it. And it's very Demon Souls as well. I think I mentioned Zistless Dem, but I've not been back to that bit. But in many ways, I've kind of. It's the first time I've taken my feet off the pedal since Scholar's launch a little bit.
Okay.
I've had some sort of wonky shifts anyway, but I don't know. I'm taking the game at my own pace a little bit, and I don't want to feel like I must complete this within a timely fashion.
Okay, Yoda.
Yeah, complete this I must in timely fashion. Fuzzy Bear, I am not.
Lord Vessel, you must acquire.
Hey there, piggy. Did I make
that's
spit out
noodle
a little
arms.
bit?
That's...
Yeah. Yay! Welcome back to Twin Humanities. Yay! I can't do that in the Kermit voice. Anyway, so elsewhere, a few other people seem to have been tempted into buying Scholar from our Smiles and Trampolines. You Die blog are knee deep in it, and kind of weren't that sure about it at first, and I think, but now are pretty much uber loving it. James Carter seems to be on the fence a bit regarding the changes, but he's enjoying it still, and like he always does, wants to kind of get the platinum and the full list of achievements.
James Carter of the Fabulous Cane and Rinse podcast.
It's hitting the sub £25 mark now as well, so I'm hoping that a few more people are tempted. I think Stu Limfield, the mighty Stu Limfield, who
Artiste
designed
extraordinaire,
Leo Girls, has said that he's, from listening to us, he's sort of quite tempted, but it's time at the moment. So
look, Stu, we got an hour. Come round to mine.
yeah. Honestly, you bring Stu round to yours and show him.
Yeah, and there we go. We're organising play dates via the magic of podcasting.
Marvellous.
We've got Lego as well.
Stuart, we're not going to tell you this in person, so if we hear nothing from you again, we'll know you've not listened.
This is a friend test.
Yeah, so, yeah.
I love the show, do you?
Yeah. Honestly, as a thank you to all 10 of our listeners, and your Patreon this month has made a massive difference, as Paddy got some mint choc ice creams.
Honestly,
and I
they
put
were
the
lovely.
extra two. I put the extra two and got some Haribo Star Mix. So thank you everybody for supporting our Patreon. As a slight aside, and I've not mentioned this to you actually, I have a Souls-based passion project that I'm working on. The first part of it's sorted, and I'm really chuffed with it. But there's something that I want for it, and it's quite ambitious, and I've got the bit between my teeth to get it sorted, and I'm hitting brick walls with it. The first wall, should we say, was entirely understandable, but those thereafter come across as a bit baffling, I guess. I still have a far more sort of audacious plan C if things go awry, and frankly, I'm not letting this fucking go for the life of me. So think pretty thoughts, people, please, and we'll see what happens. But hopefully it's pretty cool if it comes off. So
that's really interesting, but at the same time incredibly infuriating because I have no idea what you're talking about.
It has to be vague at this point.
You bastard!
And it's not like, you know, like getting fucking George Clooney for the podcast. Although we do have a star in our past, don't we?
We do.
That we thought we were going to get, but haven't. So I think he probably realised that we were a bit poo. I'm proud as punch what we do, but
sorry,
what
Mum.
can you do? People, eh? People. If you're listening, drop us an email. You know where to find us. So we did some Scholar Co-op again. We left last time. We left things in Los Bastille after defeating the Ruin Sentinels. We eventually came to rest in the servants' quarters. On this particular night, I was late to the game. You'd fired up already. Party chat had just been established, and I heard, "Oh no, what?" My reaction was like, this almost mirrors kind of the Bloodborne thing. You realise this, but my reaction was like, "Hey, what? Oh."
Yeah.
As you said, no. As you said, and all together now. What are you doing here? So tiny room, just waiting for a Ferris Lockstone. That's all it's waiting for. Just needing to get access to the belfry, and what did we find, Patrick?
Can you bury the pursuer?
Can you bury the pursuer?
I didn't the first time.
No. Well, the cool thing was within this fight that you were all kind of like panicky, delighted, and it was like panic, delight, panic, and I was like, we agreed to lay a sign on the ground and see if it could pull me in, and it did, in mid-fight. So you brought me in, and from that point we battered it. But you were having a bit of a tricky one before that.
I had a mare, because I think I had one run that failed. Oh god, that's the phone. Okay, marker. Hang on, be back. Hello. You alright?
You see the things I have to put up with. I'm a professional. I'm an actor.
Okay,
Work, I pride myself. This isn't even my real voice.
I'm recording a podcast in the front room at the moment.
But
thank you.
dear Lord, just unplug the phone. I mean nothing.
Your mum's about to phone you.
Honestly, doesn't even live there.
Bloody mother-in-laws, eh?
Don't cut that out.
So sorry, where were we?
Right, so seriously, don't cut that out. I'm
not
a few home truths. Good. So yeah, I'd laid down a sign on the floor in the middle of the battle. You brought me in, and we battered the lad. But again, what do you kind of think about the pursuer continually turning up in the Las Bastille?
Bastards is what I think. Magnificent bastards.
Not just kind of like, oh, he's there once, or it's a couple of times. It's like, oh, fucking hell, he's there again. After the third time, you didn't expect the third time, but you certainly don't expect the fourth time.
No. You think, yeah, okay, they've done that gag now. That gag's done. And then, of course, they do what the best Souls bosses always are, which is, and everybody sing with me, he's a big guy in a small area.
Yeah, but I think they're doing this to a magnificent degree with the pursuer, because this is the first time we've fought him in an enclosed area, and there's something quite terrifying about like seeing it float across the floor and like hitting like ceilings and stuff. It's quite. I know, it freaked me out quite a lot.
His sword was kind of, it was making sparks on the ceiling, I'm sure of it. And I'm sure he was doing attacks that I've not seen him do before.
You were mentioning this, I think, panic within panics, and then delight as the fight went on. I think as I was summoning into the world, you were like, he's doing things I haven't seen before! And then it was like, I'm as we were both hitting him, it became more controlled, more civilized. Like, I'm sure I'll mean that he's doing things I really haven't seen before.
Why, I'm certain he hasn't unleashed that particular flourish in the past.
First,
cadence of the wrist.
Yeah, at first you were in your Donald Sutherland.
Just incapable of words, just noises.
So yeah, we then went outside.
Fucking bastard, isn't he?
And did we fight the gargoyles?
No, we left them. We haven't been to the. We have not bell chunked yet. And when we do, oh boy, Team Pantu Punchu are going to be back in HD.
Well, we certainly saw them, or rather, I did.
You did. I was looking the other way at the time, and by the time I turned around, they'd gone.
they were fighting above in the sky and like screaming their lungs out. And I was like, "Look, Paddy, look!" And you were like, "What? What's that noise? Where am I?" Moment over.
I think I saw the tail end of one of them, and that was about it. Like,
I had to do subtitles at that point, but yeah, we then made our way to the elevator to Sinner's Rise. In my original Dark Souls 2 run back on PS3, this area was still kind of fairly well lit and all about, for me, arrows from distance and picking things off, and hiding with those kind of lumbering fish monster kind of
abomination
creatures.
hulks.
Yeah. So in Scholar it's pitch black. So in my solo run on Scholar, one hand was holding a torch whilst the other was swiping with a sword, and I was nervous as fuck because it had all been about arrows elsewhere, so I was out of my comfort zone. Here we had the luxury of one playing that role, the other was Deadly Assassin. But even beyond the darkness, we made our way into the water, and all together now.
1, 2, 3.
What are you doing here? Ian,
we need to unify that. We're saying different things. Anyway,
why
that's
did
how it
you
usually
1,
works.
2, 3 it?
I don't know. It just felt like it needed it.
It didn't though, did it?
So I walked in.
It was another piss moment.
Honestly, I'm glad we were in the water because everyone would have seen my piss. So I walked in, and it was like, okay, it's dark, it's cool. I can't see the lumbering beastmen. That's kind of interesting. So I walk off to the left, and I look down the path to see what's there, and I turn the camera around, and then Flexile Sentry getting all up in my business.
So I was walking
and then
behind
all
you,
the
and
piss came out.
I might as well have just been like holding my hand over my face and like chuckling until like your reaction was fantastic. But what do you?
This was the mirror of you getting got by the bag because you were having that kind of.
Yeah, it was.
I know what's happening.
There are some strange correlations between our runs in general. But what are your thoughts on Flexile being here?
Magnificent fucking bastard.
Yeah.
Again, like the changes to this area have just make me think the words "magnificent bastard" over and over and over again. Like I wasn't. Okay, it sounds stupid to say this, but I wasn't expecting there to be a Flexile Sentry down there, and that's kind of why it works. Like I was expecting the exploding guys, but I wasn't expecting him, and like he fits like from a lore perspective. Yeah, of course he should be there. Of course he should be there. He's a jailer. He's a guardian. He's supposed to fucking be there.
Well,
but like to actually have him be there, like, oh.
I remember in the review on Video Gamer they complained that it seemed like an ill fit, but I mean certainly the enemies it replaced were a good deal more difficult, I guess, and plentiful.
I wouldn't say more difficult. I'd say they were. I think they were more manageable. If I'm honest,
Okay.
You could get behind them. You get behind the Flexile Sentry, and he just goes, "Right, I'm going to hit you with my club." Then,
Well, I suppose for me with the previous enemies there was a degree of kind of lure them up the stairs and then do that kind of slow motion Benny Hill around the hole where the elevator was and hit them with arrows until they died.
I made one or two of them fall in that hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just wander in like, hey, I'm going to see what's in here then.
So yeah, I've not really thought about that aspect, but yeah, I suppose with the Flexile you're dealing with something huge and difficult.
And if you go up that safety path, he gives up and wanders away. Like he's like, nah, I'll leave it then.
Yeah, I mean,
bloody bastard.
I mean, even though it won't fit through the door leading up to the elevator, I don't think it's supposed to. I think it's supposed to keep anything getting to the cells, anything getting from the cells to the sinner, or from.
You think he was built in situ?
Well, it's a strange one because, like, given that in the new version that the bandaged guys from the Bastille are now piloting the boat that pulls into No Man's Wharf, which contains a Flexile.
Yeah,
it makes sense that one should also be in the Bastille as well. It
makes far more sense to have one here than it does the second one you find in the base game, the regular Dark Souls 2 PS3 and Xbox editions, where you find one in the Shaded Woods. Is it? Just randomly, like it makes a lot more sense for him to be there because that's where he comes from, isn't it? That's the thing he's guarding, isn't it?
I mean, it made me wonder, was the ship that the other Flexile was on, was that kind of to be used as a weapon of war? Was this, to be broken out when needed? Was it in the hold of the ship as kind of a barricaded threat for anything that refused to talk or to cooperate? Was this
saying that, it looks too big to get out the door there as well, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, is it sort of a relatively new weapon designed by Vendrick to kind of devastate the giants?
I know what it is. It's IKEA furniture. He's been built up inside the room, and they've realised they can't get him back out again.
You think
without breaking him?
I'm wondering if the Flexile is kind of something that contains a soul in itself, or is this was something that was quite far advanced, using the soul of the giants that Vendrick that he brought back. Because whilst we've seen, further on in the game, the golems that light up and stuff, the huge lumbering monoliths that are powered by a soul. I'm wondering if this is like purely mechanical, or if this is something where he's managed to mix a degree of the human spirit, the soul of the eternal dragons, technology, as to whether kind of this was one of the further enhancements of kind of the weapons of war that he was trying to create. So,
yeah,
ponderage. So the Bastille keys snared early in the level, rather than was it beating the gargoyles last time?
It was put right behind the gargoyles. I think you find it in one of the cells. It is one of the cells, isn't it? It's in.
Yeah. So, I mean, on the one hand, you've got access to the top doors leading out to the Sinner, but at the same time, there's also the temptation to try the lower waters and the rooms to see what's there, because there's this paranoia of like, I'm missing something cool, and
clearly.
really, what's waiting down there is death. So I like the payoff from that. Although the other
what's
side
waiting
of it,
in one of the rooms upstairs is a Buddy Hyde Knight.
Yeah,
Again,
there is, isn't there? Yeah.
Why are you here?
Yeah, and I think we both gathered around like, we're going to fight it then. And I think it had a good pap at us as well.
It had a good run. I have a theory about that one. I reckon that's one who's wandered in from Hade. He's wandered down the steps to the No Man's Wharf and got captured and brought back.
Oh, cool.
Maybe. And that's why he's been bunged in the cell kind of near the end there, in the deep bit, because he's quite dangerous, perhaps.
Ooh, I'll tell you something that I haven't thought about. If you go back having defeated the Sinner, will it be wandering round?
Ooh.
I hadn't thought of that at all.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, we're testing that next time then.
Yeah, cool. We definitely are.
Watch this space.
So yeah, with the Bastille key, obviously you've got access to lighting the oil as well, which you didn't previously. So I did the original Battle in Darkness, and I always thought that it was quite a stretch to at that point to fight the gargoyles and win, really. So maybe it's the pace is a little bit better in that regard, because I didn't go back to the gargoyles until much later on, because I just got battered.
I did not find Belfry Luna in my entire first run. People kept talking about it, and I was like, where have they been? I don't know what they mean. Honestly, it was my second playthrough where I finally found that stupid goddamn place. I love it, but still.
On the fight itself, we had two NPC summons. So we had Lucatiel joined us again, and we had the amazing Sellsword Louet. So Louet was again just a pleasure to fight with, seeing her smash those dual shields like a motherfucker into anything that comes close, and drawing out the attacks with those red eye rings as well, which is really cool, because the Sinner seemed much more off guard, perhaps, than I've seen her before. But to be fair, we kind of battered her.
Although I found myself fighting slightly ballsier, and I was getting hit a bit more than I usually do. I was like, there's four of us, it'll be fine. And then you forget that the Sinner does these great wide swings that target basically everything around her. So like, it'll be fine. She's looking the other way. Oh, okay. The sword has a back edge. Ooh.
It's not quite the uber gank that that previous sites can tend to be. In this
Dragon
now, you
Rider.
can bring in sort of an extra person into the battle, but it is really schooling people for later on in the game. When, I mean, as I am in the DLC at the minute, there are fights that I'm struggling with NPC summons. So so yeah, there's some beasts of fight later on. So yeah, that's the point we got to when we defeated the Sinner. So what your kind of amplified thoughts on Scholar?
So well, again, like chucking bosses in the middle of the level again that you've beaten before is brilliant because they make sense. They're places, reading off the open descriptions of things, they're in places that they're supposed to be. The pursuer is actually pursuing you. Although it could be a second one, I don't know, because like you've got his soul, but then he keeps coming at you. Maybe it's a second pursuer. Who knows?
I don't know.
It's hard to tell, isn't it?
You've got further ones, obviously, in the Iron Keep and Drang Lake Castle.
Yep. Because there's two in Drang Lake Castle, isn't there? Maybe there are a few of them.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just kind of an eternal creature that just that keeps, once it has a target, will just keep going. So
like a bloody predator.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, again, for the most part, like the changes are really, really good changes. Like they are, they make the poo come out, and that's all I want. Give me the fear. That's all I want. Give me the fear. Make it scary again. Make the poo come out.
It's on the other side of it. I mean, kind of, it's Bloodborne's sort of got his hooks into me a little bit more now. I really am enjoying our kind of co-op forays as well. And I think this one was probably the best one we've done, just simply because I think this was the first kind of co-op stuff that we'd done where it felt like I was controlling the pace.
Yeah, definitely. I think we were only. I thought like when we first did it, I thought we were just going to go for the boss. I was like, all right, fine, go. Yeah. I
think we had a degree more. I mean, even though I'd seen a good chunk of that level anyway, I said an important part for me was sort of taking in the atmosphere and just becoming affected with it. And whilst we did have like a good laugh as well, I think you came across as more mindful that was an important part of the experience for me.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I think the way we run Scholar, I think, is much different, isn't it? Because it's sort of same house, different people in the house, whereas Bloodborne is an entirely new house.
Comfortable chair, great cushions.
Exactly.
So we're having fun and we're enjoying sort of this dual bounce back and forth, and they seem to be sort of quite a cool mirror there as well.
Yeah. So what I want to ask you now, though, before we move on, because obviously we know where we're going next in Scholar, we know where we're going next there, but where would you like to go next in Bloodborne? I
don't know. I'll figure that out. What I'll do is I'll go on, and I'll find something. I'll find something. I'll have a monkey around and sort of feel things out and see where we go from there. So. Well, that'll have to be hanging until next time, I think.
You lead, sir. I shall follow and laugh at your inevitable failure.
Beautiful. So I shall lead you, sir, into a little bit of community talk.
Oh, yeah.
So, obviously with...
Segue.
Scholar's still being massively ignored by lots of the community, which continues to baffle me and bother me. But with Bloodborne, I can't really watch a lot of the videos because I'm not that far into it. As I mentioned sort of in previous podcasts, I've been watching lots of Pierre Creates on Twitch, which balances out my bonkers desire to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, even when I don't have to get up for the early shift. So he's now deep into Dark Souls 2, well, Scholar of the First Sin rather. He's not summoning for any of the bosses.
Ooh.
And has just found his way into the Crown of the Iron King DLC.
That's good work.
I mean, he's honestly sickeningly good at it. There's points where I'll get to a boss and I'm like, who will join me? and he's kind of like, right, I've not brought in help for any of these. This is up to me. So cojones, sir. So yeah, he's moving backwards through the games, and I mentioned previously that Pierre started with Bloodborne. He's moved to Scholar, and as we're recording this on Friday night, come tomorrow, he's doing a 12-hour stream starting the original Dark Souls on PS3.
Ooh,
how cool is that?
That's
so I'm
crazy.
Dead excited to watch it. I think James Carter's gonna trip by as well. So if there's any point where you can jump into the chat, that'd be double cool.
I will definitely try. It may have to be after the Madness concert that's going on in my back garden.
Okay.
Yeah. How often do you get Madness doing a show in your back garden? I mean,
not since the court case.
Right?
Fucking madness.
With their baggy trousers.
I know. My insight.
It's not your house, it's my house.
So yeah, speaking of Pierre's stream, he started on PS4 with Bloodborne and then into Scholar. Kind of got a taste for it, upgraded his kit, PC, etc. Went the Elgato route and started streaming through his computer for extra quality and got lesser numbers. So it seems that the PS4's Twitch sort of Ustream app only streams PS4 stuff, and whilst users can access the full Twitch experience through the browser, a lot of folks kind of presume that he just stopped streaming because he wasn't showing up for them.
Yeah.
So the run I watched this morning was he went back through the PS4 just to kind of let people know of the changes maybe a little bit more, that he did not managed it probably particularly brilliantly with letting those people know that he was moving on. But
it's one of those things you don't know until you've done it, do you? Like, oh,
yeah,
of course.
It's a strange thing, but this morning he got a good 100 odd extra folks watching through the PS4.
Nice.
And the number was kind of rising all the time, and I don't know, it's a strange one that whilst there's a focus on share play on the PS4, and I can kind of understand why there'd be a push on PS4 sort of streams, particularly on that app. It does seem a little strange that there's not a full Twitch app on PS4.
Yeah, it seems it's conspicuous in its absence, because I've been round friend of the show Sean McElroy's house a couple of times and had a play with the Xbox One's Twitch app, and I remember a very enjoyable afternoon where we spent 1 hour watching a man completely beat Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. But yeah, no, it seems like it should be there. We should be able to watch any game being played on my TV. It's I get they're trying to build an ecosystem with it, but just give us Twitch. Come on, go on, guys, just give us Twitch.
Well,
we'll plug it in somehow.
It was. I think I came to watching that stream sort of quite late when it was on. Sorry, started watching Twitch quite late when the app was on the 360, because it was there back then as well. It was only when I was watching when Timur Hussain was streaming his Dark Souls stuff. I eventually kind of stuck the main thing on the telly through the 360, and then would chat through like a tablet and stuff. And the Xbox One with that full Twitch app, I watch that when I'm working out, or when I'm eating my dinner, or this point sort of late at night where you just like I want something that I can enjoy but not really concentrate on particularly at times, where I just want to crash back, and it fits into all those roles as well. Plus, there's times where, for example, like I've mentioned before, I love Jessica Biel on Twitch.
Still a really good username.
It is. It continues to be like the funniest PvP to watch, and this kind of some fantastic pop music playing in the background. In this, in the stream that I watched last Sunday, I think there was a point where there was a song from Frozen in about 5 different accents. It was just bizarre. But yeah, there's lots of stuff like churches and like really, really kind of cool stuff that's going along, and it's a great atmosphere in chat. And it's just a pleasure to kind of turn up and just go, I'll be entertained. There's good people that I'll natter with, and the man continues to have the greatest laugh in the world, like a devil Santa on upon the cusp of the apocalypse, and he's brought presents. So plus last Sunday I won a giveaway. So corruption.
Go on, lad.
Easy.
Ethics.
So yeah, that's pretty much where we are. Other than I did mention quite late that it's or I mentioned quite late on Twitter that it's our 50th episode. So to our 10 listeners, most of which are probably out on a Friday night or not realising that we're recording, at Lucasero says congratulations. Tom Durbin says it will feel empty without Nigel.
Oh.
The Law Hunter said, I hope there is a special coffee for the occasion, and whilst there isn't directly at this moment, earlier on there was filter coffee with 2 shots of Kenya, cinnamon syrup and hot whole milk. So yeah. Danny
I think lemonade is a very special kind of coffee.
No, seriously, fuck you. Right,
it's not as good
Danny...
as my tea.
Jesus Christ. Things I put up with for this podcast. So Danny Books, Global Mega Dude, said it would be interesting to know where Scholar ranks amongst the 4 Souls games for you guys. So, Patrick, putting you on the spot.
Shit. Okay, Dark Souls 2 Vanilla would be the bottom of the pile, but Dark Souls 2 Scholar...
Are we including that in it?
If it was Vanilla, it would be 4 of the 3. I've never actually ranked them.
So it'd be 5 then, in that case, wouldn't it?
Shit, okay, well, Scholar Regular's number 5 then. 4's probably Demons then.
Okay.
And then it goes Scholar, and then Dark and Blooders fighting for the top, and I really couldn't pick. But I wasn't asked to pick where they would go, I was only asked Scholar. So I'm going to say number 3 of 5.
Okay.
Over to you.
I will go Dark Souls 2 at 5, Bloodborne at 4, Dark Souls at 3, Demon Souls at 2, Scholar at 1.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Surprising.
At the point that I'm at now, I mentioned before that I was having these internal conversations with myself, like, are you loving Scholar more than Demon Souls? And the level that's gripped me, the level that I've not been able to stop playing it. This, I don't know if, I suppose in almost like a hipster way, it feels a little bit special to me, that whereas Demon Souls felt like a bit of a discovery at that point and almost like my little secret. Scholar kind of feels a bit like that as well.
Okay.
And as much as the original Dark Souls 2 entertained me, I think Scholar's a fucking masterpiece. I genuinely do. I can't say fairer than that, really. So obviously I've got a little touch to go, but at a push.
Yeah.
That's what.
But these things, I mean, obviously these rankings may change by the time we've all finished all the games again.
Jesus Christ! This next question, Alex at Alabaster Mage on Twitter says, and I'll kind of open this up to you with a slight amendment, which you'll understand. But if you could have a coffee, stroke tea, if you could have a hot beverage.
Okay.
With any boss from the Souls universe, which would it be?
Oh.
And obviously for me, which coffee would I serve you? Just fucking dump a tea, but you might even know what tea. Might not even know what tea is, and you'd be just like, "What is this yonder paper that you throw in this vessel?"
Okay, so what are the? I need to know so any boss, right? I take it the boss will happily sit down and chat with you with the tea, right? Or the coffee. They will sit down and have a chat with you.
Then it'd be funny if you were pouring them a cup and they were like, "Fuck that noise, let's fight."
The Dark Soulist of all coffee dates.
Shut up. Or you turn up with Big Hat Logan. It's the point where he's just got his hat on.
He picks it up and he takes his hat off and there's a tea.
Oh my god! You'd be like, "Oh, sorry, mate, I bought you miracles," and then he just like puts his hat on the floor and lifts it up and there's biscuits. I have been waiting for you. Time in this area is timey-wimey, as Bonfire Chat would say.
Shit. Cup of tea with any boss. I would probably have a cup of tea with... Shit. I'm trying to think who'd have the most interesting stories to tell. So, I would probably have a chat with Artorias. Because you could talk about all the other of the 4 Kingsguard guys. Kingsguard, like it's Game of fucking Thrones. We could chat about the other guys, and he could tell me what it was like to travel through time.
But the point where you meet Artorias, he's a savage. So would you be meeting up with Artorias?
Could I still talk to him? Would he be capable of coherent thought?
Probably not. Can you talk to somebody that you'd fight, but when they're in a more coherent state?
Yeah, that's what I want. So
okay.
They could. No, I'll tell you who I want to have a cup of tea with. There we go. And again, so you can converse with this person and gaping dragon. Just want to know what it's like to have a mouth for a stomach.
Fucking pitching a cup in like an American football.
Go wrong.
Didn't even hit the sides.
No, he's got like a vat of tea, like a huge even bigger than a water tower worth of tea, and he's glugging away with it.
Now you see, I'm now going to ask you the full version of this question, which is more of a challenge to you, and probably the biggest challenge you've ever had in Souls. Right? This is the full version of the question. Right? If you could have a coffee with any boss from the Souls universe, which would it be, and what coffee would you serve? I want to test Paddy to see if he's been taking in CJ's beverage knowledge.
Shit!
Alex! Mwah!
Okay.
The greatest question of all is easy to achieve. I found the... Go on then.
Okay, so the boss... Okay, so we'll stick with the Gaping Dragon, because I believe that he would have a good appreciation for all the foods of life. He's hungry. He's a hungry man. Plus, he's got the tiny, adorable lizard head.
Do you think that the Gaping Dragon is a man, given the vast vaginaness of the Gaping Dragon?
I still think the Gaping Dragon is a man.
Okay.
He's hungry. And men are hungry. I don't know.
This doesn't work at all. If only women could eat food. I dream of this future. I dream of it. Has anyone seen a woman eat food?
Oh, that's a grim one. Having a cup of tea with the woman underneath the Firelink Shrine because she hasn't got a tongue. It would burn her mouth.
Oh my god.
Ooh, this has gone dark. Okay, and the coffee I would bring, I would probably go for one of the ones that has the shots of cinnamon in it. I'm fairly certain. I think the Guatemala Antigua had cinnamon in it. Am I right?
No.
Shit! Which one had the cinnamon in it?
None of them.
I'm sure you said cinnabon once, and it sounded tasty.
I've had cinnamon syrup in the coffee that I've had tonight, Mr. Short-Term Memory.
Oh, okay, there we go.
That was just cinnamon syrup. Guatemala has sort of is quite spicy, quite beautiful. I don't know if you're thinking of Verona, which has got that one's sort of quite sweet and quite chocolatey.
Yes.
Or there is of course the espresso roast with the marshmallowy pillowness.
That's true. Like the episode we did.
So Alex, after asking the world's greatest question, you have wedged you've carved us in twine, as I realised that the man that might as well with coffee talk just be going.
Okay, all right, fine. What boss would you have a coffee with, and which tea would you drink?
I'm not answering fucking tea questions. Get out of my face. If I could have a coffee with any boss from the Souls universe, who would it be? Now you say you could apply the same Artorias level probably to Solaire, but he's not. He's not a boss, but you do kind of fight him, and he
ain't a boss. He doesn't have a health bar at the bottom. He ain't a boss.
Quelag could probably balance quite a few cookies. Stick someone on the boobs and pretend she's got nipples. Let me think.
She can knit some nice doilies for the table.
I think I'd imagine the asylum demon. He's a fan of muffins.
He likes big buns and he cannot lie.
He's got them as well. Saucy bastard. Right, let me think. Which coffee? I think I would go with Verona because it is my favourite coffee at the moment, and that's the one that's quite chocolatey and quite sweet. But it also goes wonderfully with Caramac, bizarrely enough. So if you have a little bit of Caramac to pop in your mouth, snap a little bit of that off, and some hot sweet black Verona. I'd probably go with that. And which boss? Let me think. God, this is a great question. Gwen.
Yeah.
I'd be like, chill it, Daddy. It's fine. It's fine. I know what you want. You just want somebody worthy to link the fire, and we don't have to have a fight because look what I've bought. And he'd be like, and I'd be like, just taste this. And I'd show him how to do a coffee tasting. I'd be like, right, put your hand over the top of the cup. Just take that all in. Yeah, I know you're surrounded by this fire and flame and fuck knows what you've been eating, but take all that in. What smells are you getting from that? Are you processing it? All right, sip it into your mouth and like a full proper sip, like a, and let that get that hit the top of your mouth and kind of bleed down your jowls. And is it are you getting quite an acidic feel to that? Is it quite earthy? Is it quite chocolatey? What are you getting? Now try it with a bit of Caramac. What's Caramac? You see, I'm from a different land. Yeah. You see, I'll link the fire. It's no problem. But we can have this time together. So how you doing? Tell me about your son.
See, I feel like this is a bit of an unfair question. Like, it's not really my area of expertise. Like, okay, so to put it, okay, so my workplace then, okay, because you work in a coffee shop, you have a bit of an unfair advantage as far as the coffee knowledge goes, outside of even your own brain.
It is my thing.
It is your thing. So okay, so
I kind of know where you're going with this.
If you were to have a sit down, right, sit down chat with a non-specified drink with any boss, what kind of furniture would you sit at?
They'd be like, which sofa from my shop would you buy?
Yeah, which fucking sofa would you sit on? Go.
I'd get something that was. I'd probably get a 4-seater. So maybe we could both.
Would you now? We haven't got any. Shows how much you fucking listen.
Right. Well, you need to get sorted. What the fuck are you lifting when you say you're tired? If we had like a 4-seater. Like, for example, I could sit on one end. I'm gesturing at my own 3-seater now.
Right.
I don't know why, because this is radio. But perhaps the fact that my face is turned away from the microphone a bit will give you an example of distance. So, hold on. This is going to be good radio. 1 minute. So I'd be sitting over one side with my legs up, my legs spread across the chair.
Yeah.
Talking to Gwyn, right? And Gwyn will be over the other side. His legs are up as well, and then maybe at diagonals away from each other. Hoping he's washed his feet. Maybe a coffee table. Would that add to your? What kind
of 4-seater? Fabric,
would that add to your daily total? What?
Fabric, leather, recliner. What?
That's the thing, because leather does bring kind of those fart sounds a little bit. But maybe we could have a laugh with that. Maybe that's the sort of thing that dissolves a man's hatred and the choices that he's made with his life by like, so how you been? Like, what, me? I don't know. Fabric.
Yeah.
At least leather's washable. Fabric might get dirty, and then there could be an argument. Be like, God, Paddy's only delivered this recently through the abyss, and he kept that clean. Look at him. He's almost...
Delivery charge was astronomical.
And Gwen would be like, look, he's almost got a bicep. Lol.
A bit too real.
I'd be like, yeah, but you've made that cushion dirty. He'd be like, just brush it off. And I'd be like, no, Gwen, no. And he was like, there's all this fucking soot all over the place. I'd be like, it's your place. Get fucking Hoover.
Good answer.
I know. Anyway, thank you for listening to episode 50 of Twin Humanities.
You never found out what I'd sit at.
What? Oh, I forgot. Go on then.
I would sit at... it would be a
tea.
corner sofa, okay, and the person I'd sit down with, the boss I'd sit down with, would probably be Ornstein this time, okay? Maybe Ornstein and Smo. We'll get a corner sofa.
So
there's enough room for all of them.
Okay.
Okay, so there's enough room for both, and we're going to go for a Bel Air corner sofa in leather, which has the look and slight feel of leather, but remains washable, breathable, and wipeable. It's cool in the summer, and it's warm in the winter. It's made for the hard-working family. And it will also have, on one side, the media dock bit for like cinema people. So it will have 2 drink holders upon which we could place our beverages in. And also a handy flap that comes up. And one can put in small biscuits, nuts, perhaps a TV remote control. It's up to you what you put in there. Put that back down, electric recliner on each end. I've got one. Ornstein's got the other, and Smo can spread out in the middle, and we can talk about the weather. Yours for just $6.99 at your local Sue Rider.
That's ended the episode on a bit of a downer. I'm sorry about that.
What?
All I can think is that we'll try to do better with episode 51. We'll maybe get that. Maybe get a desk. Be like, I have a furniture virus. All I speak in is wood.
Let me fucking tell you about desks, boy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway,
Anyway,
say goodnight to the...
Say goodnight.
Say goodnight. Say goodnight to the nice people and ladies. Say
goodnight.
Oh, this is all going wrong.
This is this is the worst ending yet.
Honestly. We were doing alright up until you talked about fucking furniture.
Yeah, well, it's not. It wasn't fair. It wasn't a fair question.
I still love you.
I still like you too.
Oh, it's one-sided.
Oh, doesn't it burn?
What? I tell you what does burn. Dying early when you join a friend's game.
Oh!
Let's get it all out in the open. I fucking hate you. Should we go then?
You'll probably leave it there. So thanks everybody for listening to us.
We could have just ended it.
No. We one more bit. One more
you're
bit.
giving out the links. Everybody knows where we are.
No, okay, this isn't the links. This isn't the links. Thank you everybody for sticking with us for 50 of these fucking things.
Fair play.
It means a hell of a lot that you continue to listen to us, even when we do go off and talk about tables for 10 minutes somehow. It means a lot. It means the world, and we do it because we enjoy it, and we enjoy that you enjoy it. So thanks, listeners. You guys are legitimately the best.
Mwah.
Ugh.
Bye.
To wipe the microphone. Bye.